A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. Tonight, when Larry Noble arrived at the Hamilton Theater just off Broadway in New York, he found Claudia Vincent, who plays the feminine lead opposite him, waiting in his dressing room. Claudia suggested that they should both try to throw the guilt for Oliver Wilson's murder on Victor, chauffeur to wealthy Rupert Barlow, financial backer of the play. When Larry wanted to know how this could be done, Claudia told him her plan. To swear that Larry was in Claudia's dressing room prior to the murder, and that they both heard Victor threaten Oliver's life. Larry's reaction has brought Claudia's temper to a boil. As he says,
I want to get out of this mess as much as anyone else. But I won't do it if I have to lie my way out.
What difference does it make how many lies you tell, if it saves your neck?
You put it very directly, Claudia.
Well, this isn't the time to be squeamish, Larry. Listen, if you and I stick together, we can be absolutely sure that Victor will be accused of Oliver's murder.
Somehow that doesn't cheer me too much. Suppose he's innocent.
I'm sure he isn't, Larry. Victor's committed enough crimes in his lifetime so that it's time they caught up with him in any case. Oh, now stop being so touchy and agree that my plan is foolproof.
I can't very well do that, since we both know that I wasn't in your dressing room when you say I was.
Who can prove that, Larry? If you say you were and I back you up.
Be sensible, Claudia. This is a murder case we're trying to solve. It's important for everyone to stick to the truth. You can't try to convict an innocent man because of some capricious evidence we've manufactured.
Spoken like a little gentleman. Now let me hear your Boy Scout oath.
All right, Claudia. You asked me to do something and I've refused.
Yes, you've refused. Maybe you think you can get out of this without my help. I'm sure that you don't care what becomes of me.
I don't see why you should say that.
Look, I've offered you the perfect solution, Larry. The easy way out. Victor's almost certainly guilty, and he deserves any punishment he gets. And still you won't go along with me. Why? Just give me one good reason for refusing to let me give you the perfect alibi.
Because it just happens not to be true. Lies have a way of tripping people up in cases of murder.
Don't try to make me believe any of that. I know your real reason for refusing, Larry. You don't want your precious Mary to believe that you were with me in my dressing room when she thought you were safely out of my reach. Isn't that it, Larry?
No, I told you...
Yes, you told me. And you don't have to tell me again. You won't play it my way. All right, Larry. But remember that I've tried to help you.
Thanks.
I hope you won't be sorry that you refused.
Claudia Vincent leaves the room as Larry tries to quiet his nerves with a cigarette before he makes up for the evening's performance of the play. Meanwhile, Mary's in the living room of her home in Rosehaven, Long Island, talking to her friend Maud Marlowe, who lives with them.
Oh, I've been so busy worrying about Larry and the state his nerves are in that I didn't consider how all of this would affect poor Larry Jr.
Oh, you started to tell me what happened to him before dinner, Mary, and then you motioned me to be quiet.
I know. I didn't want you to say anything to Larry Jr. about how his face was bruised. I thought I'd better wait till he went to bed and we had a chance to talk alone.
Well, how did it happen? Did he fall off a barn roof or get knocked off the back of a truck or what?
He was in a fight with one of the boys at his school.
Oh, well, I don't suppose there's anything you can do about that. Boys are bound to have a few fights when they're Larry Jr.'s age. I only hope the other boy has a few bumps to show for the trouble.
I'm terribly upset about this, Maud. I can't tell you how it's jolted me.
This little boy's fight? Oh, don't take it so seriously, Mary.
Wait till you hear the rest. At first, Larry Jr. wasn't going to tell me how he got into the fight. And he broke down and said that one of the boys had told him his father was going to be arrested for murder.
You mean he said Larry was going to be arrested?
Yes. Larry Jr. said it was a lie and they started to fight. Oh, Maud, don't you see how awful this is?
Yes, that changes things considerably.
I don't know what I'll do if the boys start to bully him about the things that have happened. He's entirely too loyal to allow them to say a word without fighting.
Oh, well, maybe after today, Mary. Maybe they won't bring the subject up again.
Oh, I wish I could believe that, Maud. And I wish I knew what to say to him. He asks me again whether there's any chance his daddy may be arrested.
Tell him no.
Do you think I dare? When I can't be sure myself? What was that?
Oh, I can't imagine. Sounds like it came from the hall.
You don't suppose he could have been listening?
Who? The policeman? He's not inside, is he?
No, I meant Larry Jr. I'm going to see.
In the office of Chief Ferguson of Homicide in New York, Sergeant Riley is reporting to his superior officer. And we hear...
We've got to get some action on this Oliver Wilson case, Riley, or they'll have our scalps.
Oh, I'm working on it just as hard as I can, Chief. I've hardly had 4 hours sleep a night since it happened.
I can't help that. You've got to get results. This isn't just an ordinary homicide. It's complicated by the fact that the murdered man is a British subject. You have the consul staff to deal with on that score. And then it involves some very famous people.
And don't I know it?
When you take a man like Larry Noble, a matinee idol, and another fellow like this rich waster, Rupert Barlow, you're up against plenty of trouble.
Sure, I know that, sir. But you never saw such a case in your life. Not one, but a half a dozen suspects, and all of them red hot. You think you've got the answer, and then something else comes along and sends it all to bits.
Could you make an arrest, do you think, and make it stick?
I could make 4 arrests, at least, and have a pretty darn good case in court.
And still you don't know who strung this fellow up on that rope at the Hamilton Theater?
Oh, I wouldn't say that, Chief. I've got the gravest suspicions, and right now I'd say they look pretty foolproof to me.
Let's hear about it.
I'd just like a little more time to get the story squared away so that nobody can wriggle out of it when we start trial.
How much time do you think you'll need?
Not much, Chief, not much. Not if everything works as I think it will. I want to ask a few more questions. I want to get a couple of the witnesses in here and go over their stories again.
Who, for instance?
Well, I'm having an officer bring Claudia Vincent down here tonight after the show closes at the theater.
She's your top suspect?
Well, she was at the start. But I'm beginning to change my mind. Oh, she had plenty of reason to kill that Oliver Wilson after she married him and found out he didn't have a penny. And she was right back there at the theater when it happened. That's what I have to settle for sure, Chief. Just exactly where she was. Every minute of the time up till the murder was discovered.
What the devil have you been doing all this time if you haven't got everybody's statement on that?
Oh, I have, Chief. I've got it in detail. But I think this Claudia Vincent may give me something that she's been holding out till now.
What makes you think that, Riley?
She's plenty smart. Yeah. Plenty cagey. Well, if she gets scared, she'll try to save her own neck. Maybe then she'll talk a little more freely than she does now.
Well, I don't see much hope in that. We need something a lot more substantial than guesswork.
Yeah, I know, Chief. Yeah, and you're going to get plenty of proof. But first I need the chance to get everything in shape. Sending out an order to pick up that guy that works for Rupert Barlow. Says he's a chauffeur. You know the one I mean. That guy they call Victor.
Where does he fit in, Riley?
Oh, I can't be absolutely sure, Chief. Record? That's plenty bad. We could send him up any time we felt like it. Only I figure by giving him a little more rope, I think maybe we'll get more evidence.
And maybe he'll take a powder instead. He's got so many connections in the underworld, somebody will hide him out. And then there'll be a howl you could hear halfway to Timbuktu.
Oh, don't worry about Victor, Chief. I've got a tail on him all the time. You know, that guy went up to this Vincent's hotel room yesterday. Now, that's an interesting fact that I'd like to hear about. They bring a lot of the other facts to light. I'm going to bring the guy in tonight and hold him until we find out if we need him or not.
If we don't make an arrest right away, we're going to be in plenty of hot water.
Chief, I'm planning to give you enough evidence to justify an arrest by tomorrow.
I thought you said you could make half a dozen of them.
I did. But this is the one we're after. This will be the one that doesn't backfire.
Are you sure of that, Riley?
Chief, I'll stake my next promotion on it.
You better be right. Or there'll be no promotions for anybody.
Sir, would you look over my report? I've got it all written down. Now, the way I look at it, the evidence narrows down to just one suspect.
Which one is it?
Well, if you'll read my report, sir, because if you follow it all the way through, my reasoning will make more sense. Now, after I get through with my questions tonight to the Vincent woman and the guy Victor, I think I ought to have everything I need to get out a warrant for an arrest.
I'll leave the report here. I'll go over it.
I feel sure that when we've made our arrest, a conviction will follow without any hitch.
And as Sergeant Riley leaves the office, Chief Ferguson starts to read the report. Who is the suspect that will face an early arrest? Well, be sure to be listening tomorrow to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband Larry Noble, famous Broadway star.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, when you hear the hearty laugh and familiar voice of the great Gildersleeve tomorrow night, you know you're in for some hilarious adventures. Because wherever Gildy is around, why, somehow things never seem to go as planned. It might be his impulsive nature, or maybe it's his incurable weakness for the fairer sex. But whatever it is, the great Gildersleeve is bound to keep you laughing for a full 30 minutes. Tune in tomorrow night. Meet Judge Hooker, Nephew Leroy, Housekeeper Bertie, and all the rest of the friendly people from Somerville as they join the great Gildersleeve. And now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC. Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy's science fiction magazine, presents X-1. Tonight's story, Junkyard, by Clifford D. Simak.
The funny thing about the whole thing was the fact that we had never intended to land on Planet 9. We circled it and decided it was strictly a low-grade affair. It wouldn't amount to anything for 1 billion years or so. As commander of a galactic survey team, I couldn't waste my time on it. Then my exec saw this junkyard through the telescope. We landed, took a look at a load of alien machine parts discarded by some other spaceship, and then prepared to take off for Earth. It had all been a waste of time.
Engine room, MacGyver.
This is Commander Warren. All secure?
Yes, sir.
Very well. Count down for blastoff.
Engine room ready, sir.
X-5, -4, -3, -2, -1. Fire. Mac, what's wrong down there?
Well, I don't know, sir.
Brady, get the data analyzer ready. We'll have to correct for a new takeoff time.
That's the first time I ever heard of engine failure before takeoff.
Well, better before than after. Engine room?
Yes, sir.
What's happening? You boys ready yet?
No, sir.
Well, burn it, man. Get going. I want those engines started.
Sir.
What is it?
I don't quite know what to say.
Well, say something or I'll have you busted.
We can't start the engines, Commander. At least I can't.
Well, why not?
I don't know.
Klein. Put Klein on.
Lieutenant Klein, sir.
Lieutenant, what is going on down there? Is there something wrong with the engines?
No, sir. I've double-checked them.
Well, then let's get them heated up or we'll be on this God-forsaken planet the rest of our lives.
We can't do it, sir.
Klein, suppose you tell me exactly why you can't start the engines. Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
All right, why?
Because, sir, we can't remember how.
What?
Yes, sir. We've forgotten how to start the engine.
Lieutenant, report up here in 1 minute. Bring Dr. Spencer with you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Brady, where have you got it?
Got what, Ira?
Don't play innocent. You and I have been doing planet surveys together for 15 years. You carry enough dead weight in grain alcohol on every trip to keep you happy for 1,000,000 light years. Now, obviously, the boys in the engine room have gotten into it.
Impossible.
Where is it?
I got a few fists in my locker, but nobody's touched it. I checked a few minutes ago.
Well, then somebody has got some in the engine room. Come in.
Lieutenant Klein, sir, I brought Dr. Spencer as ordered.
Hello, Doc. Did Klein here tell you what's going on?
He did.
How long will it take you to get these guys sobered up?
I can't.
Why not?
Because they're not drunk. I tested Klein in my office.
Now, wait a minute, Doc. Are you trying to get me to actually believe that these men, Intergalactic engineers with years of hyperfission experience have forgotten how to start the engines of this ship?
That's right.
You're serious?
Dead serious, Ira. Something, somehow, has caused these men to forget how to start the engines.
There it was. It fit in perfectly with a lot of other annoying little things that have been happening to us ever since we put down on Planet 9. It was to have been a routine exploration of a low-grade, uninhabited planet. Some routine exploration. All right, Klein, now listen to me. Do you have manuals aboard? Engineering manuals?
Yes, sir.
Take the engine room boys and study those manuals. They'll tell you how to start the ship, won't they?
Yes, sir.
Okay, get going. Doc, I'd like you to stay here with me and Brady for a minute.
Okay.
Report back to me, Klein.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Doc, you're supposed to be an expert on space medicine. What is it?
I've never seen anything like it, Ira.
Brady?
Search me, Captain. I've seen 'em with space blues, alien psychoses, the works. But I've never seen a disease that could make a crew forget how to start the engines.
Maybe it isn't a disease.
Okay, what then?
Maybe it's a deliberate thing.
You mean they're faking?
No, I know Klein and the others too well for that. I mean, maybe there's some outside influence.
Doc, we've surveyed this planet from top to bottom. We know there isn't a living cell on it.
What about the junkyard?
What junkyard?
Oh, he means that pile of rusty space engine parts we found. The boys nicknamed it the junkyard.
He's right. Somebody put it there.
Well, we know that another spaceship landed here. We know that from the blast marks on the rock. We know that for some unexplained reason they took their engine apart and tried to put it together again. We know they succeeded in building a much simpler engine, leaving a lot of spare parts, and we know that they took off. The blast-off marks tell us that, too.
What we don't know is whether or not they left somebody behind. Or something.
What about that stone tower, Ira?
The boys looked it over. It's just a pile of stones. They probably threw them together as a shelter while they were rebuilding their engine.
Oh, that sounds too simple.
I don't like that tower, Ira.
Why not?
I don't know. It was scary. It had that black look about it. The smell of death. I felt it when I walked past with Klein and MacIver.
Oh, that's the Celt in you. Banshees and spooks.
I still don't like it. I need a drink.
Skip it. We should be ready to blast off in a few minutes. Engine room. Engine room. What's going on down there? Engine room. Lieutenant Klein.
Daddy. Is that you, Daddy? Did you bring me a present? Daddy, I'm scared.
Holy mackerel, that's Klein. He's gone off his rocker. Klein! Doc, I think we better get down to that engine room. When Doc examined Klein, he found him to have the mind and memory of a 6-year-old.
That's it, Ira. Something drained Klein of his memory. And that's as much as I can tell you.
Well, that's a big help.
Here's the manual he was reading.
Well, at least we can follow this manual and get off this stinking planet. Hand it to me.
Right here. Anything wrong, Ira? Is it all there?
It's all here, Doc. This is the engine manual that tells all about the engines. How they operate, how to locate trouble, how to fix them, how to start them.
Well, what is it then? You're sweating like a pig.
All of a sudden, I can't remember the symbols. Doc, I've forgotten how to read. I left the engine room and went out through the lock to stand on the outside platform of the ship. I looked over the junkyard where the metal of the rusted engine parts gleamed. There was a riddle there. A riddle we hadn't been able to figure out. Why had an alien spaceship landed here, ripped out its engines, and then put together a simple, less efficient engine and taken off again? And they had worked in an awful hurry, judging by the mess they'd left. Why? Why?
Mind if I join you, Ira?
No, help yourself, Doc. How's Klein?
We've made him some toys. He's playing with them. I've assigned Mac to see that he doesn't hurt himself.
Doc.
Yes?
Have you got any ideas on what's happening to us?
Well, man experiences incidents, gathers knowledge, knows emotions. Then, as he grows older, he begins to forget those experiences, forget that knowledge. That's what life is, a long series of forgettings. Here, on 9, in some impossible way, the forgetting is speeded up. It happens overnight.
No, there's more to it than that. Well, I'm going back to my cabin and try to get some rest.
That you, Ira?
That's me, Batters.
What gives?
We're in a jam.
There's been planets I wouldn't mind being marooned on, you know. But this ain't one of them. There's something here, Ira. I can feel it.
Yes, I can feel it myself. Maybe we should have looked around more.
Klein looked around. Klein was the one found that tower.
Brady, that's right. He did.
He said he didn't like it. He said it scared him.
In the morning, Bat Ears, we'll go and see that tower. In the morning, I took Doc and MacIver and Brady with me, and we walked across the valley to the stone tower. It wasn't much of a tower, maybe 8 or 9 feet high, made of rocks piled one on top of the other.
Pretty solid. Well built and odd. Type F culture, I'd say.
Did anybody bother to look inside this thing? MacIver, you were here with Klein yesterday.
Yes, sir. We couldn't find a way in, Captain. Klein poked around but gave up.
Well, we'll make a way in. Stand back. I think I can shoot the top off it. Oh, no, that should be big enough for a man to lower himself into. Okay, pass a rope around my shoulders.
Captain.
Yes?
In case there's anything, well, dangerous, maybe I ought to go. After all, I'm survey engineer.
MacIver's right, Ira.
Okay, Mac, your responsibility.
Yes, sir. Just fasten the rope under my arm.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Now, I'll climb up and lower myself in. If I pull twice, haul me out. One pull means okay. Give me a hand, Brady. Huh?
How about a quick shot of whiskey first?
Never touch it. Ready? Yep.
Can you see inside?
Black as a tomb. I'm going to lower myself. Pay out a little rope. Well, it's been lovely. Here we go.
One tug. He's on the ground inside.
Yeah, I wonder what he's found.
I still don't like it.
Oh, Brady, there's probably not a thing in there except a few... There's 2 tugs. 3. Come on, haul them out.
Brady, help me pull the top.
Right. Easy now, Mac. What the heck is in there, anyway? Mac? Mac?
Dada.
Holy jumping asteroids. Doc, he's flipped.
No, he hasn't lost his mind. He's just reverted to babyhood.
We stood there at the foot of the tower, stunned. MacIver sat on the ground, happy as a clam, playing with his fingers and talking happy little nonsense syllables. Doc, take a look at him. Make sure that he's okay physically.
Check. If it's fright, his pulse will be way up. Mac, let me have your hand. That's a good fellow. Now. Good heavens.
What is it?
I've forgotten what the normal pulse rate is. Pulse?
Doc, let's get out of here. Brady, pick up MacIver and bring him back to the ship. Come on, let's get away from this tower. A few minutes later, Brady and I sat in the captain's quarters. He didn't do much talking, just sat and tipped his bottle to his lips ever so often. Well, at least we know in a general way what we're up against.
Do we?
We know there's been knowledge lost, important information forgotten.
Check.
Now, that memory, that lost skill, that knowledge went somewhere. Maybe there's something in that tower that takes it away. And I have a silly feeling we might even get it back.
Have a drink.
That is, get a couple of men, volunteers.
Now?
Now.
What for?
We're going to find out what's inside that tower. We lowered a rotating infrared movie camera into the tower, took some pictures, and went back to the ship for a look. There was something in there, all right.
Now, as far as we can determine, this thing we photographed is shaped like a watermelon standing on end. The movement of the hairs all over it suggests vibrations, such as an antenna of an insect. Underneath are wires leading to terminals that seemed plugged right into the thing.
You think it's a form of life?
My guess is a combination of living organism and machine. After all, man and machines work together. The difference is that man retains his individual identity.
Well, since it doesn't locomote, somebody or something must have put it there.
Exactly.
It looks like some kind of communication organism.
If it is, it's a communication machine that is built to take in information rather than pass it along.
Doc, do you really think that egg in there has been stealing our memory?
Why not?
Well, because it's too wild. That's why not.
It's no wilder than a lot of other things we found. Say that egg is a device for gathering knowledge.
But there's no knowledge here to gather. I mean, how often does a ship land on an out-of-the-way melon like this?
Wait a minute, Brady. Who says that knowledge has to be collected here?
What?
I said, why do we assume that knowledge has to be collected right here on Planet 9? We forget things back on Earth, don't we?
Good Lord.
Suppose you were some race setting out fish traps for knowledge, and you had plenty of time to gather it. Where would you put your traps? On a planet swarming with intelligent beings where the traps would be found and destroyed or their secrets snatched away? Or would you put them out on some second-rate world where nobody would ever bother them?
Good heavens, I'd pick a spot just like this.
Let me fill in this picture, Doc. I think that some unknown race is bent on trapping knowledge throughout the galaxy.
Ira, if what you say is true, if it is, then every time someone on Earth forgets something, it's because one of these eggs has drained it out of him.
Well?
It's too fantastic.
Have you got a better guess?
No.
Well, the question is, what do we do next? If anybody gets near that egg, he winds up like some puling little baby.
You were pretty near it that first day. Did you forget anything?
How should I know? I was too pleasantly lit up on grain spirits to know the difference.
Well, the question is still, what now?
I'm going outside to think.
Ira.
Yes?
There is one thing to keep in mind.
What is that, Doc?
If those are memory traps, then there must be a way for somebody to empty them. And if we're ever going to get away from here, what's gone in has got to come out.
I stood out on the platform of the ship and tried to make some sort of pattern of it. Forgetfulness. That was the key word. All through the galaxy, in every culture, there was forgetfulness. There were lots of learned theories, of course, kinks in the brain, neuroses, data processing. But suppose they were wrong. Might it not be that forgetfulness was caused by thousands upon thousands of these memory traps planted throughout the galaxy, nibbling away at the conscious memory of all the sentient beings that lived among the stars? On Earth, a man forgets slowly because the traps are far away. But here, in their very shadow, a man forgets suddenly. And then another thought entered my mind. What kind of race had set these traps? How did they empty them? How? Brady.
Huh?
Where do you keep your liquor?
Not cheap.
Come on, where?
It's in my locker.
Get it out of there, all of it.
Ira.
That's a direct order.
Okay.
All of it. That it?
Yeah. I never thought I'd see the day when you pulled rank on me, Ira. If you confiscate this stuff, so help me, I'll never
Who
forgive
said
you.
anything about confiscating? That is, have you ever really hung one on? I mean, just got pie-eyed drunk?
Well, let's see. Yeah, there was once on Mars.
Was that the worst?
It was beautiful. Took me 3 days to sober up. They say I fought off the whole galactic patrol for hours.
Well, do you think you got enough here to get that polluted again?
I got a pretty good supply, Ira.
Well, that's good, because in 1 minute, I'm going to give you a direct order to hang on the biggest, most monstrous drunk in the entire history of the universe. But first you have to volunteer.
I volunteer.
No, not until I explain why I'm doing this.
Ira, this sort of project don't need reasons. It's a pleasure.
Let me finish. You know that egg up in the tower?
Yeah?
The minute you get near it, it grabs your mind, wipes it clean, right?
Yeah.
And a lead space helmet doesn't shield you, as we saw with MacIver.
Right.
Now, Doc thinks this egg is a kind of communications thing.
It must be.
Okay, you're a communications man. What do you do when you can't shield a communication?
Well, that's easy. You scramble it. Any fool knows. Holy mackerel.
Exactly. Are you still game?
You think it'll work?
I don't know. I think it might.
Well, suppose it doesn't.
You'd be a babbling infant like Klein and MacIver.
If we don't stop that thing, it'll happen anyway.
Unless we can remember how to start the engines.
Okay, Ira. I'll do it. When do I start?
Right now.
Well, Ira, Here's mud and your ever-loving intergalactic eyeballs. You know something? I'm beginning to like this mission already.
Well, that kills the last bottle.
How am I doing, our old buddy?
You're not drunk enough. I should have picked somebody like Doc, except he'd probably pass out.
I'm not drunk enough, huh, old buddy pal?
Not yet.
Well, then, in which case, old buddy, I'm going to have to do something I never like to have to do.
What's that?
I'm going to have to go into my extra special emergency reserve supply. It's a little supply I keep in case of getting marooned on a planet, you know. I don't like to go into it, but in this case, it's my duty. I'm a rambling wreck from Georgia Tech and a heck of an engineer. A rambling wreck from Georgia Tech and a heck of an engineer. Woo! Blast off!
Okay, I guess you're ready. What do you think, Doc?
Most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Is he drunk enough?
What I want to know is what's keeping him conscious.
Okay, Bad Ears, on your feet. Help him up, Doc.
Right.
Rambling wreck from Georgia Tech.
Let's go, Bad Ears.
Right. Rambling wreck from Georgia Tech.
Somehow we pushed, hauled, and stumbled Bad Ears Brady out of the ship and up the rocks to the egg tower. We erected a tripod over the hole with a block and tackle, passed a rope around Brady's chest, and hauled him over the entrance to the tower. There he swung like some overstuffed pig, singing raucously under the eerie moonlight.
Rambling wreck from Georgia Tech.
Well, what do you say, Ira?
We got the earphones on him so they can't slip off.
They're on.
I guess we're ready to lower him.
Ira.
Yep.
You sure? It's a man's life.
I'm not sure, Doc. But as commander of this expedition, I sometimes have to risk the lives of my men.
Okay, Ira.
Lower away before I start to get sober. Lower away. Blast off. Fire one. Fire two. Bon voyage, Ira.
Good luck, Brady. Good luck.
He's at the bottom, Ira.
Yeah. That is, can you hear me?
Get your hands out of my hair. Something's got his hands in my hair, Ira.
Oh, the thing must be picking at his brain. Brady, listen to me. Do you see the egg?
See, there's my buddy, Ira. My little old egghead buddy. You and me's buddy's egghead, right? Have a drink.
Oh, good Lord, he's got a bottle with him. He's pouring it on the egg. Brady, listen to me. The wires.
Wires?
The lead wires you took in with you.
Yeah.
Pull out the studs on the egg and hook your wires to it. You got that?
Just a minute. Me and Egger's gonna have a drink.
Oh, good heavens. It's no use, Ira. He's too drunk to know what he's doing.
I'll try again. Brady, listen. Your friend, the egg, can't hear you, see? He can't have a drink until you hook your wires into him. You got that?
Sure. That's an awful thing. That's dreadful. Okay.
What's he doing? Doc, you getting any impulses?
Not a thing.
Maybe we better haul him out. If he starts to sober up...
Maybe we'd better.
Okay, 1, 2...
Wait a minute, wait.
What?
I'm getting something, Ira. What? This is fantastic. Oh, I'm getting something.
All right, haul him out, quick. Come on.
Rambling wreck from Georgia Tech. Rambling...
Brady, are you all right? Doc, help me. Take a look at him. Is he okay?
Yes, he's okay. Just passed out.
Let's get him back to the ship.
Right. You know what, Ira?
What?
Tomorrow about 9 a.m., we're going to be in on the most colossal hangover in the history of mornings after.
We were in on more than Doc Spencer had bargained for. More than any human being had any business being in on.
Oh.
Well, Brady, how do you feel?
Shoot me.
You turned the trick. The tower. You hooked into the egg. The stuff is rolling out now. Doc and the boys have got a recording hooked up. The stuff they're listening in on is enough to set your teeth on edge.
What's that?
The information that mind trap has been collecting for hundreds of years. It'll take us years to sort it out, but we're getting some of it straight already.
Any of our own stuff?
Plenty.
Anything on Engines?
Well, not on our engines.
So?
We got the dope on the junkyard engine. Mac and the boys are helping to get it assembled. We're ripping out our own engines and just keeping some of the parts.
Another junkyard, huh?
Another junkyard. The engine we're building now is superior to anything ever built.
Pretty handy little gadget, that egg. Only one thing.
What's that?
Tell Doc if he comes across a good hangover remedy to let me know, huh?
Oh. It took us about 6 days to assemble new engines using some of our parts and some of the advanced designs from the junkyard. During most of that time, Doc Spencer sat down at the tower with a set of headphones monitoring the information from the egg. He was like a man possessed. I didn't think anything unnatural was happening until the night of the 6th day. Well, that does it. The boys have got the engines ready for blast-off. There's a full moon, too.
We should be able to lift her by tomorrow morning, huh?
We're blasting off in exactly 1 minute, that is.
What?
In exactly 1 minute.
But Ira, Doc, and some of the techno boys are down monitoring that egg.
I know it.
Well, it'll take them 20 minutes to get back into the ship with all that equipment.
They're not getting back.
Huh?
I said they're not getting back.
Ira, are you nuts?
Come here, that is. I want you to take a look through this field scope. You can get a good close-up of Doc and the boys who have been monitoring that egg.
Now, wait till I get it focused.
You got 'em?
Yeah?
Take a close-up.
Mother in heaven.
You see why we have to leave them here?
Those faces, they're like some kind of beast. What is it, Ira? What's happened to them?
The same thing that must have happened to the crew of the last ship that touched here. The same thing that made them blast out of here in such a tearing hurry.
What?
That is, there isn't only knowledge in that thing. Those boys are monitoring something else.
Something else.
Personality, that is. They're not human anymore. They're turning alien. They were still there when the ship roared up away from Planet 9 and pointed her silver nose toward Earth. We could see them in the scopes. A group of tiny figures crouched over the recording equipment, their earphones plugged into the egg. They didn't even look up when we blasted off. They were no longer human now. They were something else. Something 1,000,000 light years old and of another world.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, everything from famous criminals to accidents in the home will be covered tomorrow when the staff of NBC's Weekday brings you another day of informative and entertaining listening. And back again to greet you as new hostess is charming Virginia Graham, well loved by every radio and television fan. There'll be big guest stars, too, headliners in every field. Mel Torme, singing sensation. Gladys Cooper, prominent Broadway actress, and many others. Treat yourself to the best daytime entertainment with NBC's Weekday tomorrow. And now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, Hello Tomorrow. After the third atomic war, when the Earth was a mass of red radioactive dust, a handful of men and women went deep underground in the struggle for survival. A new civilization was built deep underground, a civilization which must keep a ceaseless vigil against the deadly gamma rays which filter down through the Earth. A civilization where the prime consideration is the genetic survival of the race. It is to this civilization in the year of our Lord, 4195, that we take you now.
Professor Lois Burton?
Yes.
I have a call from the Director of Emotional Stability for the third oblong. Go ahead, sir. Hello, darling.
Hello, dear. How is the Director of Emotional Stability? My, how impressive that sounds.
Don't joke, dear. You never know who may be listening.
Sorry. How are you? You sound tired.
Well, we've had some bad cases. Mostly frantic mothers who insist on imparting their feelings to children. I suspect it's chromosomes affected by gamma ray leakage from the surface, but the head of the psychotechnic division says they're glandular cases. But that isn't why I called. I have good news.
What is it?
The genetic board has approved our application for marriage.
So soon?
Our chromosomes tested perfect. We can marry any time we want. As a geneticist, you should know that our offspring should be 90 percentile of perfection.
I know.
What's the matter? You are happy about it, aren't you?
Of course. Terribly happy.
I'm coming right over to the lab.
You have to give me some time.
What's the trouble?
No trouble. You know that genetic survey I've been working on?
What about it?
Well, I've finally gotten permission to study an actual living case, a specimen of imperfect genetic transmission.
Really?
They're bringing him, or it, up from the condemned cages on the lower level.
You will be careful.
There's nothing to be afraid of. The specimen is XJ12. It's been studied before many times and is quite well trained. Oh, there's my door signal. I'll have to hang up, darling. See you later. Yes?
Professor Burton?
Yes.
I'm from the Phylogenic Institute.
Oh, you brought my specimen?
May I come in?
By all means. Oh, how...
Horrible? It all depends on your viewpoint. I happen to have a twisted leg. My parents were genetically unsound.
But then you...
Yes, I am specimen XJ12.
I see.
I hope you aren't shocked.
No stable person permits feelings to enter into his work. I will admit to surprise. I was expecting something a little more abnormal.
Well, I try to be as abnormal as possible. It pays off. The Phylogenic Institute allows me out of the genetic cages ever so often so I can breathe the pure air of the upper levels and mingle with the genetically perfect.
You seem quite well educated.
I spent the first years of my life here in the upper levels.
How is that possible?
As a small child, my mother concealed me from the director of heredity. My mother actually, dreadful word, loved me.
That would explain your obviously low threshold of emotional control.
If you choose to call it that. You seem to be struggling to repress a few feelings yourself.
We will confine ourselves to the impersonal aspects of our work.
As you please.
I shall require you as a demonstration for a lecture I'm delivering to one of my classes tomorrow.
At your service.
Sit here, please. Grip these electrodes tightly. I'm going to calibrate your electrochemical tension.
I'm quite familiar with the procedure. I realize that as an imperfect I am expendable, but I should hate to be electrocuted.
The charge is not lethal. Plus 15 surface tension.
You know, you have beautiful hair.
Plus 12 at a depth of 4 centimeters. My hair meets minimal requirements for the genetic code.
And lovely blue eyes. Crystal clear.
Plus 10 at 7 centimeters.
Pretty. A perfect woman. Lovely expressive hands. And a heart of stone. Like all the rest of you, perfect survival types.
Shut up.
Oh, could it be you do have feelings?
I seem to sense an air of emotional tension.
It's nothing, dear. This is the specimen.
You, specimen. Tell this dolt who I am, Lois.
This is the Director of Emotional Stability for the Third Oblong. You will address him as Mr. Director.
Mr. Director.
This creature seems quite impertinent.
He's only a specimen, darling.
Well, use him and ship him back to the cages. He's probably radioactive.
Attention, attention. The next demonstration will be conducted by Professor Lois Burton of the Institute of Genetics. Her topic, the probability of radioactive damage in the chromosome heredity of imperfect non-survival types. Professor Burton.
As you know, most imperfects are destroyed at birth. However, those who for one reason or another manage to survive are segregated in cages on the lower level for study purposes. The specimen we have today has been trained to tell in his own words about the factors in his upbringing. You will have to forgive his immature emotional control factor. He is, as you can see, quite different. Specimen XJ12. You will proceed, please.
Thank you. My mother was a psychotechnician in the Fifth Oblong. My father was an historian specializing in the records of pre-atomic surface culture. In the earthquake of 2170, apparently some hard radiation filtered down through the tunnels and penetrated the Fifth Oblong. The effect on my hereditary factors is quite apparent in this twisted leg. My father taught me in the last days before he was executed that every human personality is born with certain inalienable natural rights. The rights to have feelings, the right to mature, and above all, the right to be different from every other living organism. Because it cannot be otherwise, I submit to you, distinguished students, that the attempt by this society to abridge these rights is a violation of nature. I submit that the imperfects, the mutants, those who are different, have as much right to exist and be free as you. And I say break open the cages.
Stop him!
Give us back the right to be individuals.
Stop him!
Oh!
Perhaps that will teach you. Professor Burton, take this specimen back to your laboratory and confine him.
Hold still while I bandage your head.
Oh.
You'll be all right.
I suppose you detest me for getting you into trouble.
I don't detest you.
What?
I don't know why, but as you spoke, something began to stir in me.
Tell me what you feel. If I moved you, then I must have moved the others, some of them at least.
For some reason, I took pride in what you were doing, seeing you stand up against them. Why do you look at me like that?
I can't help it.
I wish you wouldn't. You're only an imperfect, you know. Please.
My name is Orrin.
Please.
Say it. Orrin.
Orrin.
Again.
Orrin.
Lois.
Orrin.
Lois. Lois.
How touching.
Walter.
I've been listening for some time.
Walter, how could you?
In my capacity as Director of Emotional Stability, it is my duty.
What are you going to do?
Specimen XJ12 will be disposed of quite systematically by the state. For the good of the state, for the good of the genetic code, and in the name of emotional stability.
Walter, I have to talk to you.
Go right ahead.
Walter, you mustn't destroy him.
The specimen? Why not?
He's emotionally unstable. You have to expect irrational behavior.
Aren't you forgetting something, my dear? That you were responding in much the same manner? Or had you forgotten? You see, I'm having him liquidated for your sake. He has an upsetting effect on you.
Then send him back to the cages. But don't kill him.
You speak of destroying an inferior creature as if it was something unethical.
Walter, please, for my sake.
I understand that you have entered a plea for postponement of marriage at the Records Bureau.
Yes. I was too upset to go through with it.
It came as a great disappointment to me.
I'm sorry.
I was hoping that, linked to a stable personality such as mine, you might settle down. If you were married to me, I might even be persuaded to send him back to the cages instead of having him destroyed. Think it over.
If I refuse?
The choice is yours. Well, my dear?
Perhaps you're right.
I am.
I suppose I ought to be rational about this. After all, he's an imperfect.
I'm glad you've come to your senses.
When can we be married?
Tomorrow, if you like.
The sooner the better.
Let me talk to the custodian, please. Hello. This is the Director of Emotional Stability for the Third Oblong. I would like you to cancel the execution of specimen XJ12. Turn him over to be remanded permanently to the genetic cages. You'd better go. I'll pick you up in, say, an hour, and we'll make plans. All right?
Yes. Yes, of course.
Hello. This is the Director of Emotional Stability again. I want you to cancel that last order. Proceed with the execution, but under conditions of absolute secrecy. No, don't use the lethal chamber. Take him through the upper level to the tunnels. Yes. Yes, I'll issue a pass for the radiation checkpoint.
Into the elevator.
Very well.
Why are we going toward the surface? The cages are on the lower levels.
Radiation check.
I've never done that before.
New procedure. Walk.
Halt. You can't go beyond this point. There is radioactivity in the tunnels.
I have a pass from the Director of Emotional Stability for the Third Oblong. Special mission.
I'll open the airlock.
March inside. Turn around.
So this is how they get rid of the imperfects. Now, before you dispose of me...
Yes?
Help! Security! Security!
What's happened?
The prisoner struck me. He escaped into the tunnels.
He won't last long.
Can you go after him?
I could send a robot, but it isn't worth the trouble. There's no way back from the tunnels except through here. The only other direction he can go is toward the surface. And the closer he gets, the hotter the radiation. No. I think you can consider your prisoner officially dead.
More wine?
No, thank you, Walter.
You look very beautiful, my dear. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
The wedding will be a small affair. The Director of Endocrine Control, the Chief of the Security Guard.
Walter?
Yes?
Was he returned to the cages?
Oh, now, why must you spoil it?
Was he, Walter?
Well, as a matter of fact, there was a little difficulty.
Difficulty?
Yes, you see, XJ12 escaped.
How? Where?
He struck a guard and ran off into the tunnels.
The tunnels. But that's sure death.
He's free to return any time he chooses. Now, don't become upset, darling.
You planned it, didn't you, Walter?
Stability, darling, stability.
Stability. Here's what I think of stability.
Halt! State your business.
I'm Professor Burton of the Genetic Institute.
You can't go into the tunnels, Professor.
You'll have to let me by. I'm the fiancée of the Director of Emotional Stability.
Oh, I suppose you're after the one who escaped?
Yes.
He's quite dangerous, I understand.
I'm well armed.
Wouldn't it be better to send a robot?
I'm quite capable of handling him. He was my subject.
All right, miss. It's your risk. Checkpoint.
This is the Director of Emotional Stability.
Yes, sir.
If Professor Burton tries to pass the checkpoint, I want her taken into custody.
Professor Burton just passed her. She
You
said...
idiot!
But, sir, she said that
I
she
don't
had...
care what you said. Stop her. Send robots after her. Get her back.
Yes, sir. At once, sir. Robot control. Checkpoint to robot control. Order out all televocal robots into the tunnels. Have them bring back any humans. This is a first priority order.
Oren! 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 Oren, where are you? Oren.
Hello?
Oren! It's Lois.
This way. Behind the rock. Over here.
Oh, darling, darling.
Lois, why did you come here? It's suicide.
I had to. Oh, darling, are you all right?
So far.
You've got to turn back. Give yourself up.
They'll kill
You
me.
can't stay here. The radiation is +4 at this point. It gets worse as you approach the surface.
Lois, darling, go back.
What will you do?
I'm going ahead.
But you can't.
I can. I'm going to the surface.
It's certain death. Not even the robots can survive it.
Well, at least I'll be the first human in 1,100 years to see what the surface of the Earth looks like.
Come back with me.
No, Lois.
Then I'm going with you.
Lois.
Don't try to stop me, darling. There's nothing to go back to now. Nothing but Walter and emotional stability.
You really want to come with me?
Yes.
You know what it means.
I don't care.
My mother used to believe there was a life after death. A place called heaven.
We'll believe it, too.
Oh, no, Lois, I can't let you go.
Oren, I love you. See, I know how to say it now.
Say it again.
Oren, I love you.
What's that?
It sounds like... Oren, it's a robot patrol. They're looking for us.
All right, come on. This way.
Oren, wait.
It can't be much farther, darling.
The robots. They're coming. I can see their lights now.
Listen, they've stopped.
The lights are swinging round. Oren, they see us.
Come on. Look, Lois, look ahead. You can see the lights reflecting from something.
It looks like a lead door.
Come on through. There must be some way to close it. Oh, yes, here.
Let me help.
Well, they won't get through that. It's solid lead.
Oren, I feel so strange. Where are we?
I don't know.
Look, up there. A huge round light.
Lois.
Yes, Oren.
Lois, that's Luna, the moon. We're on the surface.
How strange and red everything looks. How it glows.
It's the radioactivity.
Quiet and peaceful. And deadly.
Oh, hush, darling, hush. Sit here and rest a while.
Put your arm around me. Oren, I'm afraid. Oren, we're going to die.
Don't think about that. Just think about us. Alone. The first humans to stand on the surface of Earth in 1,100 years. That door must have been placed there by the last handful of survivors who went underground after the atomic wars.
And those other lights, the small ones, they must be stars. Orin, I'm so tired.
Go to sleep, darling. Put your head on my shoulder and sleep.
Hold me, Orin. Hold me very close. Orin.
Hmm?
Orin, wake up.
Hmm? What?
Look, it's light. The whole universe is light. Oh, Orin, how beautiful. Look.
This must be the heaven my mother talked about.
See the plants? All green and fresh. And the birds. How strange they look.
Lois, this isn't heaven.
But we must be dead, Orin. We should be dead. The radiation.
By all the laws of nature, yes.
By all the laws of nature. Orin. Orin, we're not dead. This is Earth. And we're alive. We're not going to die.
But Lois, the radiation, it's present. You can see its effect.
Orin, did you ever hear of geotropism?
I'm not a geneticist.
There is a natural law of adaptation by which an organism will try to adjust itself to its environment by changing. It's called geotropism, don't you see?
No.
All these generations we've been bombarded by radiation filtering down through the Earth. Each successive generation must have inherited some degree of immunity.
But...
Orin, it can't hurt us. Don't you see? We're immune. We're probably the first generation to inherit sufficient immunity.
But, darling, if that's true, then we can transmit that immunity. We can pass it along to our children.
And they to their children. Come on. We'll have to find food and water.
The practical life. Wait a minute.
What are you doing with that rock?
I want to scratch something on the outside of this lead door.
Lois and Orin.
4195 A.D.
Hello, tomorrow.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine. It was an original story by George Lefferts, starring Jan Miner and John Larkin, and directed by Daniel Sutter. Next week, A Gun for Dinosaur by L. Sprague de Camp on X-1. This is the NBC Radio Network.
A wealthy and beautiful California woman, Mrs. Patricia Gregory, has spent 14 years searching the world over for her little daughter, Joan Gregory. 14 years ago, Mrs. Gregory, her husband, and baby daughter were shipwrecked in the South Pacific. Everyone on board was believed lost except Mrs. Gregory, but she has always felt that her little girl was also saved. This belief has caused Mrs. Gregory to offer a large reward for news of any young white girl found in the South Sea Islands who might prove to be her daughter. 14 years she has waited in vain, but now the story begins in Los Angeles. It is just 12 o'clock midnight. A police radio car is cruising near Mrs. Gregory's home.
Car 67 at Weston and Slauson, a fight. Car 67 at the service station, Weston and Slauson, a fight. Car 14.
That's us. Let's hear it then.
Calling car 14. Car 14 in North Chester Place, near the Adams Street entrance. Investigator Prowler, North Chester Place near Adams. That is all.
Cut him off. We'll have a look around.
We're right in that block now.
Yeah. Slow down. This ought to be it.
I thought I saw somebody on that lawn there. That's the Gregory place, isn't it?
Yeah. There is something moving there. He's up the driveway, right behind it. Where you going, buddy?
Who wants to know?
Hold it right there and I'll show you. Hold it there, kid. I want to talk to you.
Hey, why don't you take that flashlight out of my eye so I can see who you are?
It's a lot more important that I see who you are. What are you doing here this time of night?
Well, suppose you tell me what you're doing here, and then maybe I'll Oh, golly, Whiskers. I didn't see your uniform at first. The cops, huh?
Right, the cops. Now can you remember what you're doing in this driveway?
Well, I might live here.
Ah, you might, but you don't. We got a call on you as a prowler.
A prowler? I'm looking for a lady's house. That's not prowling, is it?
Well, depends on whether the lady wants you to be looking for her. This is Mrs. Gregory's house.
Honest? She's the one I'm looking for. Much obliged. I'll go and see her.
Hey, not so fast, buddy, not so fast. Do you know Mrs. Gregory?
No. But I've got some news for her. I heard about her little girl being lost in the South Seas on a magic island.
Oh,
and I...
So, her little girl's lost on a magic island, eh? And her mama don't know it, but you're going to tell her. Well, I'm Santa Claus, and I'm taking you to the North Pole with me. Come on.
Hey, let go of my arm.
Oh, you're going to the station house. Come on.
No, I'm not. Help! Help!
Oh,
Mrs. Gregory!
Will you shut up?
Somebody help! Hey there, you!
Hey, now you'll walk him up in the Gregory house.
I hope I woke
somebody's
up the whole
coming.
block.
Take it easy, son. Now, take it easy.
Here, this is no place to stage a fight.
Oh, well, we picked this kid up in your driveway on a prowler call.
I'm not a prowler, honest. I've got to see Mrs. Gregory right away.
Well, it isn't so easy to see Mrs. Gregory at midnight. What's your business here?
The kid's having a pipe dream about Mrs. Gregory's little girl floating around Australia on a magic island. I'll see that he don't bother you anymore. Come on, son.
Wait a minute. Hold it, officer. Did you say Mrs. Gregory's little girl?
You bet he did. But nobody's going to get a chance to laugh at me again. I'll tell my story to Mrs. Gregory, or not at all.
All right, officer. I'll be responsible for this boy. And if he's not what he represents himself to be, I'll send for you again. My name's Bradford. I'm in charge of...
Oh, that's all right, sir. I know you, Captain Bradford. Call us if you want anything else. And let us know how the kid's magic island comes out.
I'm sure glad you came out, sir. He was going to take me to jail.
Well, if your story doesn't sound just right, you'll still get a chance to go. Come on up to the house now. We'll meet Miss Gregory.
I know she'll want to hear my story, but I kind of hate to get her up at this time of night.
Never mind that. Miss Gregory and I were just going out. You go open the door there and go right in. I'll follow you. Go on in, kid.
But you ought to go in first.
I'll be the judge of what I ought to do. Go on in. Now, straight down the hall to that lighted arch.
What's going on, Tex? I thought I heard... Oh.
Are you Mrs. Gregory?
Yes, I'm Patricia Gregory.
Let's go in and sit down, Pat. I'm anxious to get a good look at this young fellow.
Say, Mrs. Gregory, your butler's mighty suspicious of me.
Butler?
I'm sorry, Tex, but you should see your face.
Butler. What makes you think I'm the butler?
Well, heck. Nobody but a butler could act as suspicious of anybody as you do.
You're wrong, young man. Captain Bradford is in charge of my affairs. Manager of my estate, master of my yacht, pilot of my planes, and... But hadn't you better introduce yourself?
Yes, we'll ask a few questions now, son. You sit over there. Keep your hands in sight. Patricia, you stay near me.
Don't be absurd, Tex. What danger could there be? He's only a boy.
Yes, and Billy the Kid was only a boy when he had to put extra long handles on his guns to hold the notches.
Say, I've had about enough of this. I've got something to tell Mrs. Gregory. Do I get to tell her, or don't I?
Of course you do. Keep quiet, Tex, and let the boy talk.
Thanks, Mrs. Gregory. Well, my name is Jerry Hall. This afternoon, I picked up a radio message on my shortwave set on a band I'd never heard anything on before. Somebody was talking in funny broken English and said that an old sailor was very sick in a hospital somewhere near Honolulu. I guess he didn't say.
There it is again, the same thing.
Wait, Tex. Go on, Jerry.
Well, I guess this old sailor was so sick, he didn't know what happened to him. He was raving about how he'd escaped from a magic island in the South Seas and about a beautiful little white girl that was living there with some strange people. Well, I read all about your little girl being lost in the shipwreck when she was a baby, and I thought that, well, that is... Gosh, I guess it sounds kind of foolish when I try to tell it.
No, it doesn't, Jerry. It isn't foolish at all. And Captain Bradford and I are leaving tonight within half an hour, sailing on my yacht. And we're going to find out all about that old sailor and his story.
Well, I've been reading all about your little girl ever since I could read. Is it true that you were shipwrecked in the South Seas, just like the stories say?
Yes, Jerry, it's all true. We were wrecked in the South Pacific when my little girl, Joan, was only a year old. Her father was lost, and of course, everyone else thinks my baby was also, but somehow I've never quite given up hope that someday I'd find her.
And we've chased all over the world to see girls that people show to us to try and get some of the money Mrs. Gregory offered. But they never are the right one.
Well, how could you tell your little girl? I mean, if it really was her.
Joan had a tiny birthmark, a little star-shaped scar on the back of her neck.
Joan. Gee, that's a pretty name. Joan. I'll bet she'd be pretty, too. Maybe almost as pretty as you are, Mrs. Gregory.
Thank you. There you are, Tex. Jerry's a bright boy.
Yes, his eyesight's all right, I'll say that. We've got to go. You see, kid, we heard the same thing on the shortwave that you did. And we're sailing just as soon as we can get to the harbor.
Boy, that's slick. Will you take me with you?
Will we do what?
Take me along, will you? Oh, please.
Why, Jerry, we couldn't do that. We hardly know you. You're so young, you can't be out of high school yet.
Well, I know my dad would let me go. And I know a lot about boats and aeroplanes and radios and all that sort of stuff. And I'd work hard on the yacht and... Oh, golly whiskers. How about it?
Not a chance. Out of the question.
I'm sorry, Jerry, but it just wouldn't do.
Beg your pardon, madam, but the car's at the door. Everything is quite ready. Baggage loaded.
Thank you, Johnson. We'll be out in a moment.
Very good, madam.
Now, Jerry, I'm afraid we'll have to say goodnight to you. It was sweet of you to come and tell us about your radio message. Won't you let me give you...
Oh, no, thanks, Mrs. Gregory. It was fun for me. You see, I've dreamed about finding your... Oh, well. Good night. I hope you have a lot of luck.
Thanks,
good night,
Jerry.
son.
Good night.
Oh, say, I was just thinking, if he could only let me go, I'd telephone my dad. He'd let me go when I tell him how nice you are, Mrs. Gregory.
Oh, Jerry, you're nice about this, and I would like to take you, but it wouldn't do, would it, Tex?
Sorry, kid, but it just isn't in the cards.
Boy, I'd sure like to see that magic island. The broadcast said there was something mysterious about it. How ships tried to sail up to it and couldn't, and that it was big but invisible. He gave the exact position. It might be true.
Afraid not, Jerry. We've sailed through there on 2 steamer lanes. There isn't an island the size of a watermelon that isn't on the chart.
Well, I guess I'd better go now.
I'll see you to the door.
Are you afraid I'm going to take something?
No, but I'm going to take something. Something to remember you by. Open the door. Go ahead. Open it.
Gee whiz. That flashlight nearly blinded me.
Sorry, but we like to take pictures of the people who come to see us at midnight, and we like to know when they open our door, too.
But when I came in, I opened the door myself, and nothing happened.
And I had the flashlight shut off. Now go on, kid. Get out.
Oh, I'm sorry I bothered you, sir. Good night.
Tex, why were you so rough about sending him out?
I just got an idea. That boy's smart. He could have broadcast that message himself just to get a trip to the islands with us.
I suppose so, but I do wish we could have taken him.
Well, it might have been wise at that. And I could have kept an eye on him till we ran the story down.
Oh, well, forget it. Hurry, Tex. Johnson's waiting in the car, and Jameson will lock up until we return. To the harbor, Johnson.
And step on it.
Johnson. Oh, Johnson.
Yes, madam.
We're awfully crowded back here. Couldn't you find room up front for this roll of steamer rugs?
I tried to put the roll up here, but he wouldn't have it.
Who wouldn't have what?
The young gentleman inside the rug, sir.
Huh? Say, Pat, there is somebody inside this roll.
And I can guess who it is.
I didn't think you'd find me till we got to the boat, and then maybe you'd take me with you.
I ought to wring your neck.
Now, Tex.
Oh, I know, Patricia, but...
Gee, Mrs. Gregory, that's an awful pretty name, Patricia. Oh, now, look. I'm plenty big enough to go with you, and we'll telephone my dad from the dock, huh?
How about it, Tex?
Nope.
Oh, now, Tex.
No. You got her on Miss Gregory all right, Jerry, but you can't do that to me.
Oh, no, sir. I wouldn't try to get around you. I can see that nobody could do that. You're too smart. But I would like to sail with you. I could learn a lot from a man as smart as you are, Captain Bradford.
All right, you win, kid.
Golly whiskers! To the harbor, Johnson, and step on it.
When Jerry Hall went to find Mrs. Gregory's house at 12 o'clock at night, he sure got himself into a lot of excitement and possibly some trouble. A police radio car picked him up as a prowler. But finally, Jerry talked himself into the Gregory house and got a chance to tell his story to Mrs. Gregory and Captain Bradford. It's a wild story and one that few people would believe. But Mrs. Gregory and Tex Bradford are adventurers who live in a world where impossible stories come true. We find the three of them now on the afterdeck of Mrs. Gregory's magnificent yacht, the Joan Gregory. The yacht is well out of Los Angeles Harbor, and the lights of San Pedro are fading astern. It is 2 o'clock in the morning.
Golly whiskers. We're really on our way to find the magic island.
Not much magic in a wild goose chase like this.
Now, Tex, let Jerry talk. We've been disappointed on so many of these trips to search for Joan that it's nice to have someone with us whose belief is fresh and strong.
Okay, Patricia. I don't want you to feel too badly if this tip doesn't amount to anything.
But gee, Captain Bradford, there must be something to this. We both got the same radio message.
Yeah, that's what's too good to be true about it, son.
You're the most suspicious fella I ever met.
Never mind, Jerry. The captain has all my interests to look after, and his suspicions are my protection.
All right. I'm on the yacht with you anyway, and we're going to Honolulu, or wherever that message came from, and see the old sailor. Then we'll get all the story and know just where to go in the South Seas to find your little girl.
It all sounds mighty easy the way you tell it, Jerry. But there's a lot of water between here and the islands. And 14 years have been torn off the calendar since the shipwreck.
You're right, Tex. And I suppose it's foolish of me to pay too much attention to this message, but I've never believed that Joan perished in that shipwreck, and I just can't give up trying to find her.
I'll help you all I can, Mrs. Gregory. Golly, but this is a swell night, isn't it? Just look back there at the shoreline. All those lights getting smaller and smaller and sort of twinkling, like stars do just before they go out in the morning.
It's beautiful, Jerry. The only thing I like better than sailing out of this harbor is sailing back into it again.
Well, if you two can be spared from the poetry class for a few minutes, we'd better get to the radio cabin. I want Jerry to get acquainted with our set. Then we'll have to turn in. It's after 4 bells.
Oh, boy. 2 o'clock in the morning.
And time you were asleep, Jerry.
Oh.
Let's go in the cabin with Tex and see the radio, then we'll all turn in.
Captain. Here comes the skipper. Pat, you take Jerry in the cabin. I'll check with the skipper and join you in a minute.
Come right in, Jerry. I'll show you around.
Boy, is this a radio cabin or is this a radio cabin?
Everything shipshape, skipper?
Aye.
We don't know what our course is to be, but for the time being, we're chasing a radio message that probably came from somewhere in the Hawaiian Islands. So just hold the general course on the regular lane until I change it.
Aye.
We've a new hand aboard. He'll help me with the radio. I'll fix it with Sparks, and he can split a watch with you.
Aye.
Better turn in now, Skipper. You can take over after daylight, and I'll join you in the chart room for some skull practice on navigation to imaginary points. We've got to locate a magic island.
Who?
All of us.
Nuts.
Who?
Everybody.
Well, maybe you're right, Skipper. But just the same, that's what we're looking for. Well, see you at breakfast. Will you join us in Mrs. Gregory's cabin?
Aye.
That's all, Skipper. You can shove off.
Aye. Magic island nuts.
I don't blame the skipper much at that. Well, I see you've got the set warmed up, Jerry. How do you like it?
Gee, Tex. Captain Bradford, it's a darb.
Darb, huh?
It's all right, Tex. Jerry says darb is the highest praise he can find for anything.
So you think it'll do, kid?
Do? Gosh. I bet it'll get anything in the world. It's all set to go now. Can I try it?
Go ahead. And while you're enjoying yourself, you might as well be working. I'll see that you stand a regular watch here if you can handle that set right. That way I won't have to relieve Sparks and can take it easy.
Why not let Jerry call Johnson and make our report?
What I had in mind. Work on 3 meters, son. Ask for J12C. That's Johnson, our radio operator and chauffeur in Los Angeles. Sign yourself as Jerry on J24Y. That's this yacht.
You can get this set down to 1.5 meters, can't you?
Yes, and we can work in that wavelength on our Los Angeles set, too, Jerry. That's how we heard the message about the dying old sailor and his magic island with a little white girl on it.
That's where I got it at home, too. Gee, you know, Dad and I thought we had the only set in the country that would work on 1.5 meters.
Yes, and we thought we were the only ones. You and your dad must know something about radio to build a set like that one. Funny, too.
Well, no funnier than you having one. You see, my dad has studied radio all his life. He doesn't have to work anymore and just plays with it all the time. We can send on 1.5 meters, too.
Yes, I thought you could.
Why, Tex, what do you mean?
Oh, I know what he means. He thinks I sent that message just to get you to sail for the South Seas so I could get the trip with you.
Well?
Oh, Jerry, you wouldn't do a thing like that, would you? Knowing how much it means to me, how badly hurt I'd be if we made this trip, and Didn't find any trace of the little white girl?
I wouldn't do that for anything in the world, Mrs. Gregory.
Okay, son, we'll let her go. For now.
To the Gregory
Gee whiz.
There he is again.
What's the matter, kid?
1.5 meters.
To the Gregory Land Station, Los Angeles. To J12C, Los Angeles.
Now he's...
Quiet.
Calling J12C. Relay this message to Yacht Joan Gregory. Stand by for message. Cannot raise yacht. Relay this to them.
He doesn't know we can get him on the yacht.
Quiet.
To the Gregory yacht. You will not find the old sailor in Hawaiian Islands. Set your course south. Further directions later. Old sailor delirious. Probably dying. Keeps repeating position of island. Says his diary will tell you white girl living there. Island position. Latitude 29 degrees south. Longitude 124 degrees 30 minutes west. That is all. Repeat to Gregory Yacht. Repeat to Gregory Yacht.
Gee, the same thing.
Tex, the position was the same as given before. And the old sailor keeps saying there's a little white girl on the island.
Yes, yes.
What are you doing, Tex?
Checking my directional beam finders. We've got to know where those messages are coming from.
There's something wrong with them, all right, or they'd be signed. Why would anybody send a message without signing it, if they were honest?
Maybe they haven't got a licensed station.
Yes, here we are. He wasn't on long enough for me to get a very long curve on the graph for calibration. But one thing is sure. That message did not come from the west, north, or east.
Then it had to come from the south.
Yes, recording directional receiver shows only direct impulses. And the only place it was disturbed by those beams was through about a 60-degree angle to the south.
That's awfully broad, Tex. If the sender is any distance from us, that angle could spread out to cover thousands of miles of ocean.
I know it. But it's 10 to 1 that Johnson got it, too. We can check with him later. You and Jerry stick with this set to pick that fellow up if he comes on again. I'm going to change our course. We're heading south right away.
Oh, Jerry, I'm so excited and encouraged about it all.
Me, too. Gosh. Even Captain Bradford seems to be taking it plenty seriously now.
That's what makes me so happy. Tex has been through a lot of these things with me. He doesn't believe wild stories very easily. So when he gets excited, it looks as if we had a chance to accomplish something.
I've got a hunch we're going to find your little girl Joan all right. But what kind of people could she have been living with? I mean, on this island, that wouldn't let the world know all about it before this.
There are so many things that might have happened, Jerry. But if we really do find a little white girl on this island, and it is Joan, I won't care about anything else.
Well, when you have time, and if you want to, Mrs. Gregory, I wish you'd tell me the whole story of the shipwreck. I mean, just where it happened and how you were saved when everyone else was drowned. And what made you think your little baby was saved?
Of course I will, Jerry. And I'll start right now. We'd been in a terrific storm for days. The yacht we had then was very much like this one, except that it was named after me, the Patricia Gregory.
Oh, and this one is named for your little girl, the Joan Gregory, isn't it?
Yes. Well, we were making dangerously heavy weather of it, along the 30th parallel, when all at once...
Say, wait a minute. The 30th parallel. This radio message. The 29 degrees south. That's near the 30th parallel, all right.
Why, Jerry, so it is. I didn't think of it just that way before. There's only about 69 miles between the parallels at that latitude.
How about the longitude? This message said 124 degrees and 30 minutes west.
That would be about right, too.
J12C to J24Y. J12C to J24Y.
Is that Johnson?
Yes, Jerry, acknowledge him.
Hello, J12C. Jerry Hall for Captain Bradford on J24Y. Go ahead, J12. Go ahead.
Never heard of you, Hall. We'll talk only to Bradford.
Can you beat that? That guy drove us to the boat, but he never heard of me.
I'll explain it to him, Jerry. Let me have the microphone. Hello, Johnson. Hello, J12C. Patricia Gregory to Johnson. Jerry Hall is okay. He's the boy we brought with us. Tex is out on deck. Jerry authorized to do relief watch on this set. Confirm receive that.
Okay, Mrs. Gregory. Okay work with Jerry Hall on J24Y. Better get Captain Bradford in cabin for this message. Have important relay for you.
That's what we heard direct, I'll bet.
Oh, here's Tex now. Tex, Johnson's calling. Wants you to take over for this relay.
Okay, J12. Bradford, go ahead, Johnson.
Relay of message just received. Logged it on 1.5 meters. More about the old sailor and his island. Position repeated, correct as given before.
Break, J12. Break it, Johnson. Okay, J12. We got it direct. Now check your directional graph. Get me the best line you can on it. I'll hold the set open.
Checking graph now. We'll report when finished.
Now we'll have something definite to go on when we want to set our course.
Good old Johnson is always on the job. And his instruments are really better than these portable ones.
Maybe so, but, well, I don't understand how we can localize that radio beam better than you can right here.
He can't, but he has a chart exactly like this one, in front of him at this minute. And when he gives me his reading, I log the line of it right here. Then extend the line I have from our reading, and the point where those lines cross should be a pretty accurate location for the radio transmitter we're receiving those messages from.
Beam falls in zone 1-8. Zone 18 south. 18 south.
Zone 18 south. Okay, Johnson. Stand by.
Now, can you get at your figures pretty close to it?
If we were farther from Johnson, the angle would be better. The tech should hit it fairly well.
By George, there it is. And those lines cross almost on the 30th parallel.
Golly whiskers. 30 degrees south. And the message said the Magic Island was 29 degrees south.
Nobody said anything about a Magic Island.
Oh, Tex, let Jerry call it anything he wants to. If we can only find it and my little girl is still alive.
Don't say if, Mrs. Gregory. We're going to find your little girl, Joan, on a Magic Island.
The program you are about to hear is largely fiction, science fiction. We make no guarantees, however, how long it will remain fiction.
Exploring tomorrow. And now, here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, John Campbell, Jr.
The philosophers down the ages have hassled a long time and with many words about the good, the true, and the beautiful. The true, well, that can be defined pretty objectively. But there's a peculiar thing about beautiful. What is beauty? And in whose terms? Makes it difficult.
With the story of The Adventure of the Beauty Queen, which stars Miss Charlotte Sheffield, Miss United States of 1958.
Beauty is a much more complicated problem than the question of truth, actually. A truth is an eternal thing. If it's true, it's true, and that's that. But beauty is appropriate. It changes as the situations change. It changes with time. I wonder how our own concepts of beauty, that is, our human race's concepts of beauty, will change as time goes by. Let's suppose that a famous young woman of our time, Miss United States, if you like, is awakened in her sleep by an alien presence. A strange force she feels but cannot see. It's something she knows is there.
Who are you?
You know I am here.
Yes.
Can you see me?
No.
Nor can I see you. But I am conscious I am with you.
Yes, of course.
No, it's real.
Who are you?
A man who in your terms belongs to the distant future. I am unborn in the way you think of it. And to me, you have been dead over 1,000 years, were I back in my own orbit.
Someone's playing a joke.
No, this is no joke. But please, don't be afraid. I mean no harm.
You're dead 1,000 years. Whoever you are, what are you talking about?
Listen to me. Try to understand. I belong to a race of scientists. In simple words you can understand, we have a device which enables us to project ourselves into the past. You belong to the past. Do you understand?
Yes.
The device has made me conscious of you for a long time. I have used it to explore the past, and in these explorations, I have searched for the highest form of human beauty.
How do you know whether or not I'm beautiful if you can't see me?
The device tells me you're beautiful. Beauty, real beauty, is a force that transmits itself, that can be picked up by a form of radar. Please understand, I'm only using terms I think you can follow. In my own orbit, I would not even talk to a child in such simple terms.
Go away. Please go away.
I can't. I'm in love with you.
What?
In love with you.
In love?
Yes.
Oh.
Very much. Is it funny?
Oh, yes.
I don't think it is.
But it is.
Do women of your time always laugh at a man's love?
Oh, don't be silly. I wasn't laughing at you.
Well, then at what?
I just thought it was very funny. The idea of your being in love with a blip on a radar screen. After all, that's about what I am to you, isn't it?
Oh, no.
It must be.
No. The radar screen, as you call it, simply picked you up, pointed you out to us.
Us?
My associates and I.
Oh.
I felt very strongly drawn to you. I convinced my associates to conduct further experiments, actual contact with someone out of the past. You. I had to know you. I had to come into orbit with you.
Look, don't you think this joke has gone far enough?
Well, I told you this is not a joke.
Of course it is.
Well, you know better.
Oh, don't you suppose I know what's going on? Well, I should have thought of it a long time ago.
What is going on?
Why, it's very simple. Someone installed a radio pickup in this room. And you're talking to me through a microphone.
Talking to you?
You are, aren't you?
Oh, no.
What do you mean, no?
I'm not talking to you in the way you think I am. I'm projecting to you.
Oh, please stop this.
But it's not your voice I hear. I'm receiving impulses from you, not actual words. The device I mentioned interprets the nature of your impulses, translates them into my language. It does the same for you.
It's true. I don't hear your voice. Not as a sound, I mean.
You begin to realize.
Please stop.
No, don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. You must be insane to say that. I'm scared out of my life. I want to scream. I'm afraid to. I'm not even sure I'm awake. I'm not even sure I'm alive.
You're alive. In your century. Now, understand what I'm telling you. In a moment, you'll be drawn out of your orbit, projected into the future, into my orbit. I want to see you. I want to see if you're as beautiful as your impulses say you are. If you are, I'm afraid I'll keep you where I am in the future.
No, I don't believe any of it. You're mad. Whoever you are, you're quite insane.
Are you receiving me? Don't be afraid. You're in limbo, on your way into my orbit.
Exploring Tomorrow continues in just a moment.
All of us, as American citizens, believe in our inherent liberties and freedoms, such as the freedom of the individual to choose and elect his own national representatives. It has been said that there is only one ruling class in America, the people themselves, who, through their vote, have established the law of our land. The real importance of this freedom depends on our accepting the responsibility not only to know what we are voting for or against, but also to choose our leaders for the best interests of the nation. So, accept your responsibility and ensure
your freedom.
Of all things men have discussed and considered today, time is the one of which we know least. We know how to travel in space, and recent physical work has indicated that actually things can travel backwards as well as forwards in time, but we know nothing about it. And one of the things that would be strange on this, how long does it take to travel through time? When you are traveling through time itself, how long does it take to go from now to then? How long was Miss United States in that limbo before she was there?
I'm talking to you. I'm projecting to you. Are you receiving me?
Yes.
Are you afraid?
A little.
Not as much as you thought you'd be.
No.
Have you any idea of where you are?
I'm in a room. That's all I know.
I'm in the next one. We're on the 500th floor of the Institute of Technical Research in the city of Columbia. In your century, I believe you called it Washington.
Washington?
You understand, this is America.
I'm glad to hear that, at least.
Yes, I can see it relieves you.
You can see me?
Very clearly.
And am I?
Are you what?
Well, what you expected me to be.
To some extent.
Do you find me unattractive?
Alien.
Alien?
Different.
Yes, I know the meaning of the word.
At first, I was conscious of a sense of shock when I first saw you.
At least you're frank.
Well, I'm a scientist.
Do you find me ugly?
I said alien. Of course, I knew you would be. I didn't expect you to measure up physically to our standards. The human form has improved a great deal since your century.
But why? Was there a reason?
Man-made reasons.
Can you tell me?
Well, it began with interplanetary wars conducted by the nations of the world. The struggle to build empires in outer space on other planets.
When was this?
Oh, not in your century. You saw only the first feeble attempts to explore space.
Yes, I suppose our attempts are feeble.
Well, the interplanetary wars did a great deal of destruction, particularly on this planet. Precious documents, books, records were lost. But there was another result. The atmosphere of the Earth became charged with radioactive matter. For a while, it looked as though the human race had become extinct, but it didn't. The human body acclimated itself to new atmospheric conditions and flourished again. But by that time, our physical form had changed. It changed for the better. And today...
Go on.
Well, today, the human form is the most beautiful creation has ever seen.
And by your standards, I am something of a shock to you.
Your physical form was, at first, yes.
Am I very different from the women here?
Very different.
To you, they're beautiful.
They are beautiful.
Would I find them attractive?
I don't think so.
I might.
Oh, no.
Why not? If they're so beautiful, I mean.
Well, your conception of beauty is not ours.
I understand that, but...
But what?
I don't know. I was going to say that beauty is beauty, but that wouldn't make any sense.
No, the concept of beauty is what matters.
But you said beauty is a force. It radiates.
The inner beauty radiates.
I understand that, too.
Well, how do you think of the universe?
Oh, I think I associate it with God. I identify it with the divine mind.
I'm surprised.
The universe is a reflection of God.
Now I begin to understand why, in spite of your physical form, your beauty reached me. And it has nothing to do with your looks.
I wouldn't be very gracious if I didn't say thank you.
I'm going to keep you here, you know, if I can.
I don't think you quite mean that.
I mean it in every sense. I want you now to remember what I've said about the change for the better in human form. I'm going to open the door to your room and come in. Now please keep in mind that I do not look as the men of your century looked, but also remember that here I'm supposed to be a reasonably good-looking fellow.
I would like to see you.
Well, you will in the next few seconds.
That which is beautiful and befitting, appropriate, depends on the environment it's in. The future people have had to undergo some rather complete changes to meet the environment that, shall we say, we, their ancestors, had imposed on them. A little too much radioactivity. And that which was beautiful is no longer befitting. The thing that is now befitting we might not think of as particularly beautiful.
Is it so bad?
I'm sorry.
I should not have exposed myself to the shock you feel, to the revulsion you feel at the sight of me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I should have known.
Forgive me. I just can't look at you for a moment. I have to adjust.
There's a window behind you. You can look out.
Oh, thank you. Please, don't resent me.
No, I was just wondering if you have any idea how incredible to me your revulsion is.
Yes, I think I have an idea.
You must overlook what sounds like vanity, but I have to repeat what I told you before. I'm supposed to be more than passably good-looking.
Yes, I understand.
But you can't stand the sight of me.
Give me a moment. Are you looking at me?
Yes.
Does it still hurt you?
No. No, I'm too conscious of your inner beauty.
I'm very grateful.
I'm curious about something.
Yes?
Are you conscious of any of my impulses?
I think so.
Do you find them hostile?
No.
Alien?
No.
Do they cause you any fear?
I don't think so.
Well, forgetting how I appear to your eyes, do you like me?
Yes. Yes, I think you must be a very nice person.
The curious thing is...
Yes?
I was going to say, the curious thing is I'm still in love with you.
You mustn't be.
Perhaps love is a dimension.
I don't know. I'm too confused to think about it.
Or perhaps it's an orbit we enter or leave. I don't know either. It was just a thought.
You can't examine love through a microscope, can you?
Well, it's been exposed to every kind of study for centuries. Even the people of your time knew its reactions to be purely chemical. Of course, your poets didn't agree, but then neither do ours.
Do you have poets?
Oh, yes, we have them. They resist us. They call themselves the last human barrier against science. They refuse to understand what basic science is.
What is it?
Well, isn't it man's eternal craving to find out more about the universe, or the divine mind?
Let me go back.
Go back?
Please.
How can you even want to go back? Look, what do you see through that window? Nothing but beauty. Miles of emerald green fields with cities that sparkle like diamonds rising out of them. Nothing but prosperity. Prosperity and peace. And you want to go back to your miserable century?
To my people. To my own people. I belong with them. I don't belong here.
I'll tell you something. We're being observed, listened to by my associates.
Observed?
Well, the final decision must come from them. I'm as much a part of this experiment as you are, even though it was my idea. My idea. Now that we've succeeded in drawing you out of your orbit into ours, I don't think our science will release you. We can learn a great deal from you about the things of your century. Besides, I love you. I want to keep you here.
Please! Please don't touch me! Please don't touch me! Dream. It's all all it was. It's all it was. It couldn't have been anything else. It couldn't have been.
There are parts of beauty that are eternal, that are not like the physical that changes, but the beauty of a true and honest personality. This sort of beauty, that will endure. There are things that you can rely on as time goes by. Woman needs man, man must have his mate. On this you can rely. The only thing is, the definition of man and woman will tend to change with the passing of ages. But the fundamental things apply. An honest man and an honest woman. These we need forever.
Join us for a fascinating adventure in Exploring Tomorrow. Heard in our cast tonight were Brett Morrison and the real Miss United States of 1958, Charlotte Sheffield. Script was by John Fleming. Produced and directed by Sanford Marshall here in New York. Guy Wallace speaking.
We pause now for station identification.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here is an important message.
Fellows and girls, every day the city, state, and national offices of civilian defense organizations are swamped with letters from young people like yourselves. And most of these letters ask, what can I do, what part can I take in the national war effort? The writers of these letters are all too young to join the United States Armed Forces, too young to join any of the numerous home defense groups. And yet they ask, isn't there something we can do? Some of you listening now are no doubt among those who have written these letters. And I'll bet many of you who have not written have thought the same thing. Well, the answer is a very simple one, and here it is. You can do your part in civilian defense. You can help to win this war by buying war-saving stamps regularly. How does that help, you ask? How can my dime or 20 or 40 or 50 cents help to win this war? That's easy, too. For instance, your dime, just 10 cents, will buy 5 .45 caliber bullets. That can be used by our soldiers, sailors, or Marines to knock 5 Japs or 5 Nazis out of commission. And believe me, it's going to take a lot of those bullets to knock them all out and win the war. Another thing, 50 cents, which represents 5 10-cent or 2 25-cent war-saving stamps, will buy enough fuel oil to bring one of our destroyers a full mile closer to the Jap fleet in the Solomon Islands. And you know what happens when our Navy gets close enough to turn on the heat. And here's one more thing for you to think over. If every fellow and girl in the United States bought at least 5 10-cent war-saving stamps every day, the amount of money they'd lend to the government would buy enough fighter planes and bombers to blast Hitler's Luftwaffe right out of the air. So remember that each and every dime is important, that buying war-saving stamps is a very important way to help win the war. So why not pledge today to buy war-saving stamps regularly? Remember, every time you've got a dime, buy a war-saving stamp.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and young Jimmy Olsen are in the midst of a baffling mystery. It all began when they bought editor Perry White a plasticast reproduction of a famous statue, only to have it smashed into 1,000 pieces by an unknown marauder who entered White's apartment in the dead of night. This strange incident was quickly followed by others of the same nature. Investigation showed that 10 casts of the same statue had been made at the art shop of Nino Benelli and shipped to Kramer's department store. They were sold to 10 different people, and within 24 hours, 9 of them had been smashed. Stranger still, those who caught a glimpse of the vandal said he wore peculiar costumes, a pirate suit, a Mickey Mouse suit, even a clown's costume. In our last episode, we learned how Clark Kent caught the man as he was about to destroy the 10th statue. Seemingly out of his mind, he was taken to police headquarters, where he was mysteriously murdered in his cell. As our story continues today, it is 2 o'clock in the morning. Kent and Jimmy, on the trail of clues, are standing before Nino Benelli's art shop in the lower part of town near the waterfront. Listen.
Gosh, Mr. Kent, we've been pounding that door for 5 minutes and no one answers. I'm getting cold.
Strange that Benelli doesn't answer. He lives right above the shop.
Maybe he isn't home.
Oh, that's possible. We'll try once more.
Why don't we come back in the morning? It's 2 o'clock.
Wait a minute. I think someone's coming. Yes, there's a light.
Oh, thank goodness. My hands are frozen.
Yes, what is it? Mr. Benelli?
Yes.
I'm Clark Kent, Mr. Benelli, reporter for the Daily Planet.
Please, why do you wake me up at this hour of the morning?
I'm sorry, Mr. Benelli. I know this is a little unusual, but may we come in?
What do you want?
Well, I'd like to talk to you about a matter of great importance. It concerns some of your plastic cast reproductions of that famous statue, The End of the Trail, by James Earl Fraser.
Please, come back tomorrow when my shop is open. Then I do business, not at 2 o'clock in the morning. Good night.
No, wait a minute, please. You don't understand. A man has been murdered because of your statues.
Huh? What's that?
Yes, murdered.
Come in.
Thank you. Come on in, Jim.
Now, what are you talking about, young man? What do you mean a man has been murdered because of my statue?
I'll explain everything. You made 10 plastic casts of Fraser's statue, The End of the Trail, didn't you?
Yes, and I am ashamed of them. The reproduction was so bad.
All 10 were shipped to Kramer's department store, weren't they?
Yes, but I do not feel...
One moment, Mr. Benelli. Those 10 statues were purchased by individual customers of Kramer's. And within the last 24 hours, 9 of them have been smashed.
Well, that is not my responsibility.
No, wait, you misunderstand. They were deliberately smashed. Each purchaser was traced. Someone broke into the house and shattered the statue into fragments.
But why? Why?
Well, that we don't know. A few hours ago, we caught the man who was doing the vandalism. He seemed out of his mind. He was taken to police headquarters, and a man named Dr. Squires examined him in a cell. When Squires left, we found the man dead. Murdered, evidently, by Squires.
I do not understand this. Why should my statues cause all this trouble? They are no different from hundreds of others I have made.
Well, that's what we want to find out. Jim, have you a pencil and paper?
Sure.
Take notes as we go along, will you?
Okay.
Now, Mr. Benelli, I want you to tell me everything that happened from the time you started making those statues until the time you shipped them to Kramer's.
I have never had so much trouble as I had with those 10 statues.
Oh, really?
First, I did a very foolish thing.
What was that?
I permitted my assistant to mix the plaster. That, as you must know, is a very important step in the making of a really fine plaster cast. The plaster itself must be just right.
Oh, yes, of course.
And your assistant didn't mix it the right way?
Oh, everything was wrong with it. I would not let him do it except the front of the shop was crowded with people. Customers, you know, looking for ornaments and such things. Also, I sell paint.
Yes, but what other troubles did you have?
Oh, when I think of it. When the shop had cleared somewhat, I go into the workroom in the back to see how the plaster is getting along. And what do I find? Not only has my assistant mixed the plaster badly, but he has permitted one of the customers to enter the workroom to see how plaster casts are made.
Oh, you don't permit customers in your workshop?
Never, unless they are well known to me. The making of a plaster cast is an art, my friend. I have certain secrets. And who can tell when a rival cast maker might come to look on and steal my secrets? Well, I can tell you I got that man out of my workroom quickly and the assistant, too.
I'd like to talk to that assistant of yours.
That is an impossibility. I fired him on the spot.
Oh. Do you know where he lives?
No, I do not know his address. I do not care to know.
Well, did you have any further trouble?
Well, is that not enough? A batch of bad plaster and a total stranger permitted to enter my workroom? The workroom of the great master Nino Benelli?
Oh, just one more question. The only statues you made that day were the 10 figures you sent to Kramer's department store?
That is right.
Mm-hmm. And you made them from that batch of what you call bad plaster?
All of them, yes. Personally, I am glad the statues have been smashed. Mr. James Earl Fraser, the great artist who created the original, will be glad too. You see, they were not my best work.
Only 9 of the 10 were broken. I have the 10th one safely locked away in my apartment.
Well, then destroy it. Please destroy it, and I will make you another one free.
Well, thank you for the offer. I may take you up on that. All right, Jim, let's go. Sorry we bothered you, Mr. Benelli.
That is quite all right. And let me know what you learn.
Yes, we will.
Good
night.
Well, did you find out what you wanted to know, Mr. Kent?
I think so, Jim.
Gosh, I didn't hear anything that would help solve this mystery.
Well, I think I did.
What?
A customer who entered Benelli's workshop and watched the assistant mix the plaster. He's important, Jim. Very important. We've got to find him. Come on, let's get back to my apartment.
Your floor, Mr. Kent. Good night, sir.
Good night. Come on, Jim.
Boy, I'm sure glad I'm bunking with you tonight. I hate to wake my mother up at this hour. I sure don't want to leave until this mystery is solved.
Did you tell your mother you were staying over?
Uh-huh. I called her early this evening.
Oh, good. Now, let's see. My keys.
You know, what I don't understand is why was that crazy guy murdered at police headquarters tonight? And who was Dr. Squires?
Squires was a phony. He killed a man to keep him from talking, and the man wasn't crazy.
Then why was he dressed in a clown's costume?
Well, that's one of the things we'll have to clear up.
What's the matter, Mr. Kent? Can't you find your key?
Shh, wait a minute.
Something wrong?
Someone's in my apartment.
Well, how can you tell? I can't hear anything.
Keep your voice low. You run down and see if you can find a cop, Jim. I'll wait here. Hurry now. Don't wait for the elevator. Take the stairway.
Okay, I'll be right back.
There, he's gone. Now, we'll handle this little job.
As Superman. Off with these clothes. There. That's better. Now, to open the door. Greetings, gentlemen.
Don't move, buddy. You got a slug to you.
Well, how about a little light on the subject? There we are. Great Scott. 3 of you, all armed to the teeth.
Yeah, and we know how to use these guts, too. Who are you?
People don't usually ask me that question. They take one look and they know.
Yeah? Well, who are you?
I'm called Superman.
Oh, so you're Superman. We heard about you.
Thank you. I'm flattered.
Don't get wise, big boy. We come here to do a job, see? We got orders to pick up a statue that's in this apartment.
Well, how interesting.
We want it fast, see?
First, I want those guns.
Hey, wait a minute.
Oh, my God. All right, come here, you. Now, your neck.
No.
Only one more left.
Now, wait a minute.
Okay,
Wait a minute.
come and get it.
No, I didn't do nothing.
Hold your head up.
No.
Yes. There. Oh, Jimmy's back. Better get into Kent's suit fast.
Just a minute, Jim. Be right with you. There we are. That does it. Okay, Jim, you can come in. The door's unlocked.
Holy mackerel.
Close the door, Jim.
What's all this, Mr. Kent? Those men sprawled on the floor.
Why, I had 3 visitors. They came to pick up the 10th statue.
Did you knock them out? Did you knock them out?
Yes, with a golf club. I was pretty lucky.
Oh, gosh, I'll say. I couldn't find a cop, and when I heard shots, I ran back upstairs.
Oh, we'd better pick up those guns and put them in my desk in case my friends come, too.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah. Just drop them in this drawer, will you?
Okay.
That's fine. And now, Jim, I think we're going to solve the mystery of those broken statues.
You mean you know why they were all busted?
I think so. The visit of these 3 hoodlums convinces me I'm right. The 10th statue is in that closet. Here's the key. Get the statue and put it on the table, will you?
Okay. Gosh. Yeah. Here it is, Mr. Kent.
Fine. Well, you'd never think, Jim, that anything so harmless as a statue of an Indian slumped over on a horse could cause so much trouble, would you?
Gosh, no. I'm still waiting to find out why. What are you doing with that hammer, Mr. Kent?
Well, Jim, the only way I can give you the answer to the mystery is to smash this statue.
What? You're going to smash the 10th and last one? Are you kidding?
I was never more serious in my life. Stand back. Here goes.
Striking the statue a terrific blow with the hammer, Kent shatters it into 1,000 jagged fragments as Jimmy looks on, wide-eyed. Why did Kent destroy the statue? Does he really know the answer to the mystery? We'll find out Monday, so don't forget to listen in, same time, same station. Tune in and follow The Adventures of Superman.
Well, there goes Superman until Monday. Meanwhile, don't let the weekend go by without buying your share of war-saving stamps. And remember what I told you at the beginning of this program, you fellows and girls who are too young to join the armed forces or any of the national defense organizations. You can do your part. You can help win this war by buying war-saving stamps. So let's make a pledge right now to buy war-saving stamps regularly. Talk it over tonight with Mother and Dad. Ask them to give you a dime every day or even every other day for war-saving stamps. And then buy some extra ones out of your regular weekly allowance. And see if you can't get your friends to buy stamps regularly, too. Or, why not organize a war-saving stamp club right in your neighborhood? And make this your club slogan. Every time you've got a dime, buy a war-saving stamp.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman! Follow the adventures of Superman every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Superman is directed by George Lothar and is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
This is Mutual.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend the steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here is an important message.
Fellas and girls, don't ever get the idea there's nothing you can do to help win this war. Just because you can't join the Army or Navy doesn't mean that you can't be part of this big fight to preserve the American way of life. No, sir, not at all. Because there is one big, important thing you can do, and I'm going to tell you about that right now. You see, aside from the fact that we can't all be soldiers, sailors, or Marines, because we're too young or too old or something, it's necessary for a good many of us to stay right here where we are. As a matter of fact, Uncle Sam says that for every man in the armed forces, there must be 11 people back home to keep them well supplied and to see that everything runs smoothly. It's sort of like a civilian army that cooperates with the armed forces to help win the war. And that's where you come in, you and I. For we are all members of this civilian army. And the best way we can help our boys at the front is to buy war-saving stamps and bonds and buy them regularly. How does that help? Well, let me tell you. It helps our government to finance the war. It helps to buy the guns and the tanks and the planes and ships and all the other things the Army, Navy, and Marines need to knock out the Japs and the Nazis. For instance, every time you buy a 10-cent war-saving stamp, your dime will pay for 5 bullets. And every 5 10-cent stamps buys enough fuel oil to carry a destroyer a full mile. So you see how important it is for you to buy a war-saving stamp every time you've got a dime. Now see if you can't get Mother or Dad to give you a dime every day or even every other day with which to buy war-saving stamps. Talk about this with all your friends. Ask them to buy war-saving stamps regularly. Ask your mother and dad and all your neighbors and relatives to sign Minuteman pledges. Do all that you possibly can to build up the sale of war-saving stamps and bonds. And that's what you can do to help win this war.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Superman, in his guise of Clark Kent, Lois Lane, girl reporter, Jimmy Olsen, copy boy, and Editor White of the Daily Planet, are now trying to unravel a weird and puzzling mystery. 10 plaster casts of a certain statue, each belonging to a different person, have been broken by a baffling intruder who has made a practice of dressing himself in strange costumes, as a clown, a pirate, sometimes even as Mickey Mouse. That is to say, 9 of the statues have been broken in this manner, for in our last episode we heard how Kent foiled the attempt of 3 gangsters to get their hands on the 10th statue.
And then, out of a clear sky, Kent decided to break the statue himself. Jimmy Olsen is present in Kent's apartment and looks at him wide-eyed.
What's that? What did you say, Mr. Kent?
I said I've got to break this 10th statue.
Oh, have you gone out of your mind, too?
No, Jim, I was never saner in my life. 9 of these statues have been smashed into 1,000 fragments. And the same thing must happen to the one I hold in my hands now. The 10th.
But why? What on earth for?
You'll see, Jim. Well, here goes.
Well, so now it's broken. Scattered all over the rug.
Funny. Very funny.
What's funny, Mr. Kent?
No, the breaking of that statue didn't bring me the results I expected.
I hate to sound so inquisitive, but what did you expect?
Oh, I expected it.
Uh-oh. One of those gangsters is starting to come too, Mr. Kent.
Well, we better tie him up. I've got some strong twine in the kitchen. That'll hold him.
Want me to get it?
Oh, yes. Thanks, Jim, if you will. It's in the left-hand drawer near the sink.
Okay. I'll find it.
Thank you.
Well, why in me? Oh, my jaw.
Hurry with that twine, Jim.
Oh.
All right, now, don't move, pal. I've got you covered with one of your own guns.
Here it is.
Thank you, Jim.
Well, what happened?
Oh, you just suffered a little casualty. Now, just turn over on your stomach.
Well, what's the idea?
Turn over on your stomach, I said.
Okay.
That's the boy.
Oh.
Now, put your hands behind you.
Now, wait a minute.
Remember, I've got a gun. The less you say, the better.
Okay.
That's it. Put your hands behind you.
Yes, sure.
Good. All right, Jim, tie his wrist. And use plenty of twine so little Rollo here can't get loose.
Okay.
Hey, wait a minute. My name's Spike. It ain't Rollo.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
How are you coming, Jim?
His wrists are tied.
Good. All right, now his ankle.
Now, listen, mister. Take it
lie
easy.
still, Rollo. I mean, Spike. You'll be better off.
I knew I should never have took this job.
Oh, and you're quite right.
Yeah.
It was a big mistake.
Okay, Mr. Kent, hold tight.
Good boy, Jim. Now just roll him over on his back.
Now, take it easy.
That's fine.
Now maybe you'll tell me why you smashed the 10th statue, Mr. Kent.
Well, it's this way, Jim. I went over every detail of this strange mystery we found ourselves mixed up in. 10 statues bought by 10 different people on the same day at the same store are mysteriously broken. Well, 9 of them, anyway. We had the 10th here.
Uh-huh.
The more I thought about it, the more I was convinced that there was only one possible reason why they were broken. But it looks to me as if I was... No, wait a minute. Maybe it's so small that it's hidden.
Oh, what's so small? What's hidden?
Here, wait a minute. Let's have another look at the broken fragments of that statue, Jim. Hand me that hammer, will you?
Oh, I don't understand this at all. Wait a minute. Here you are.
Thanks. Now, let's see. Yeah, here's a pretty big piece. Let's break it open, huh?
What's that little round thing that just rolled out onto the floor? What was inside that piece you just smashed?
Exactly, Jim, and it's the thing I've been looking for.
You mean...
I mean, Jim, that the answer and the only answer to why those statues were being broken was that there was something inside one of them.
Sleeping mackerel. But what is it? What is that thing that was inside that fragment?
Well, it looks like a tiny metal box. It's no bigger than a dime.
Yeah.
Let's open it and see what's inside.
You bet.
Now, wait a minute now. There we are.
What is it?
Oh, it's just a little slip of paper. Something written on it, though. Let's see. It's a formula of some kind.
A formula?
Yes. Listen to this. C2 over X4, C3H5, parenthesis OH, close parenthesis, 3. Then it goes
Hey,
on...
wait a minute. That thing you just read. That's the chemical formula for glycerin.
It is? How do you know?
Oh, I had to know to pass my chemistry exams at school.
Jim, you amaze me. Let's go on here. CH3C6H2, parenthesis NO, close parenthesis 3. You know what that is?
I certainly do. That's the formula for TNT. Golly, Mr. Kent, that must be a formula for some kind of explosive.
You're right, Jim, without a doubt. Well, there's no point in our reading this further. We'd better take it down to the police lab along with the 3 rover boys here. The police chemist ought to be able to work it out.
It must be mighty important if somebody was going to all this trouble to get it.
Mighty important is right, Jim. More important, I'm afraid, than we realize.
Well, look who's here. Clark Kent of the Daily Planet.
Hello, Doc. You know Jimmy Olsen.
I should say I do. Hello, son.
Hello, Doctor.
It's been almost a year since you visited us here at the police lab, Kent. How come?
Well, I've been pretty busy.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've heard about some of your doings in the papers. And what brings you here now?
Well, I've got a little problem for you. Jimmy and I just delivered 3 prisoners to Captain Callahan.
Oh?
The captain sent us down to see you to see if you could figure out the formula on this slip of paper.
Formula, eh?
Uh-huh.
Well, Kent, I should say there are a few formulas I can't understand. Let's see it.
There you are.
Thanks. Now, you just give me a moment.
Gosh, Mr. Kent, this sure is someplace. All those test tubes and Bunsen burners and... Well, what are those things?
Those curved glass bottles? Oh, those are retorts, Jim.
Oh, sure. We used them in class, but I couldn't remember the name.
Oh, Kent.
Yes?
I'm afraid I boasted a little too soon.
You mean you can't figure out that formula?
I'm afraid not. Some of it's familiar enough, but there are equations here that like a which I've never seen before.
Oh?
Seems to me there are only three men, let's say, in the world who could understand this.
Well, who are they?
Einstein's one. The second is Professor Palmer Graves, and the third...
Palmer Graves?
Yeah.
He lives here in town, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And we've got to get up to see him right away.
Well, you can't do that.
Why?
Graves is in the hospital. He's suffering from a collapse right on when... Great Scott.
Well, Doc, what is it?
Why didn't I think of it? Why, this is it. Kent, don't you see? This is it.
Well, what in the world?
Look, I'm sorry. We just don't follow you.
Of course you don't. There was very little in the papers about it to begin with, and then the matter was carefully hushed up. It wouldn't have done the public any good to know about it, and besides...
Now, wait a minute, Doc. Wait a minute. What's this all about?
Well, now, Professor Palmer Graves has spent years perfecting an explosive more powerful than any other explosive heard of before. I understand it has nitroglycerin and TNT backed off the map. For years, the professor he was successful in evolving a formula for exactly the kind of explosive he wanted.
Go on.
For 1 ounce of the stuff, according to his experiments, will be sufficient to blow up an entire building, the size of the Daily Planet.
Boy, oh boy.
Yes, but I still don't see...
Well, 2 days ago, the formula was stolen from the professor's laboratory. He kept only one copy of it in a wall safe, since he didn't want to take chances.
I see.
Well, the other day, someone managed to open that wall safe and get away with the formula.
That doesn't sound possible. You mean to say the professor kept that formula in a wall safe that could easily be opened?
Yeah, but that's the point. That wall safe was considered burglar-proof. Yet, somehow, the thief managed to open it and extract the formula. Professor Graves happened to enter the laboratory just as the thief was leaving. He saw the wall safe open, and he began to yell for the police at once. Well, the boys arrived and gave chase, but they never caught the man.
I see.
Kent, this news will do wonders for Professor Graves. To say nothing of how it'll affect the boys here at headquarters, we've been worried sick. I'd better call the hospital right away.
Well, now, are you sure this is the formula?
Well, I'm not positive, but, well, we'll see. Where on earth did you find this paper, Kent?
Well, it's a long story, Doc. I'll tell you later.
Well, I'll certainly be glad to hear it. Oh, hello? Metropolis Hospital? Connect me with Professor Graves' room, please. What's that? Oh, I see. Thank you very much.
Something wrong?
The professor was permitted to leave the hospital today. Well, we'll probably get him at home. Let me see. What was his number again? Yes, I know. 6314. I tell you, Kent, this is the greatest news I've had in years. And wait till Captain Callahan hears about it.
We better be sure it is the formula you're looking for first.
Oh, of course it is. There can't be any doubt about it. Oh, hello? I'd like to speak to Professor Graves, please. This is Dr. Turner at police headquarters calling. Thank you. That must be the nurse I just spoke to. Oh, hello? Professor? How are you feeling, sir? I'm glad to hear that, sir. Well, I've got some news for you that'll really make you feel better. We managed to... Hello? Professor? Professor, what in the world?
Well, what is it? Something
Hello?
wrong?
Hello?
Golly, what happened?
I heard him scream. What? It sounded like, stay away from me. And then the phone went dead.
Holy mackerel.
Kent, we've got to do something. We've got to do it quickly.
Doc Turner is right. Something must be done quickly. Professor Graves is in trouble, and this time it's serious trouble. Who is behind the strange and mysterious attempt to gain possession of the formula for a new and powerful explosive? Well, be sure to be with us tomorrow and every day, Monday through Friday. Tune in and follow The Adventures of Superman.
Did you ever stop to think why American machine gun crews make such good scores in their battles against the Japs and the Nazis? Their teamwork, their super marksmanship, comes from practice. Practice every day until they can hit the bullseye practically every time. But that much practice eats up an awful lot of bullets. And that's just where you come in. You buy bullets for machine gunners every time you buy war stamps. 5 bullets for every 10-cent stamp. So get behind your team by buying stamps just as often as you can. Can you think of anything more exciting to buy for your dime then 5 .45 caliber bullets. 5 bullets for American soldiers to use in protecting your homes from the Japs or the Nazis. So, get going. Get your stamps today and every day.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Follow the adventures of Superman every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Superman is directed by George Lothar and is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
This is Mutual.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invites you to rocket into the future with
Stand by to raise ship. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Rocketing through space on a scientific mission to the outer edges of the solar system, Space Cadets Tom Corbett, Roger Manning, and Astro prepare the rocket cruiser Polaris for a landing on the planet Pluto. On the control deck, Major Connell, a hardened space pioneer and commander of the expedition, cracks out orders briskly.
Control deck to radar bridge. Check in. Radar bridge ahead. Get me a picture of Pluto on the magnoscope, Manning, and feed it down here to me on the control deck scanner.
Yes, sir.
Well, Corbett, we should be hitting the upper layers of the residual atmosphere soon.
Estimated time of touchdown is 2 minutes, Major Connell. Closing in fast.
Have the schedule on it, sir. Pluto clears dead ahead. And from the looks of it, I'm ready to go home right now. Nothing but ice.
Never mind the editorial comment, Manning. Feed it down here.
Right, sir.
Ah, there she is, coming in clear as crystal. Well, how do you like Pluto, Corbett?
Why, the whole planet is one big snowball.
Carbon dioxide snow. You see those ice mountains there to the left? Down near what you might call the equator?
Yes, sir.
Those peaks reach nearly 6,000 feet up from the surface of the planet. Millions of years of temperatures of 400 degrees below zero have frozen carbon dioxide gases right into those mountains. That's where we want to go.
We're almost over them now, sir.
Very well, Corbett. Attention, all stations. Stand by for touchdown. Control deck to power deck. Check in. Reduce escape velocity speed to 5.3, Astro.
Why 5.3, Major Connell?
Pluto has about 3/4 the gravity of Earth, Corbett. On Earth, we need a little more than 7 miles a second for escape speed, so we land tail first, using enough thrust on the rockets to ease down. Let me know when we're 50 feet above the ground.
We're closing in fast, sir. 100 feet to touchdown. 75. 50.
Power deck, zero velocity.
Zero velocity, aye, sir.
30 feet, Major. 20. 10. Touchdown!
We're ready to go outside, Major Connell. Good. Now you all know what we're looking for. A cave that can house 1,000 workers and equipment as a base for later detailed explorations. We'll go out in pairs. Corbett, you'll come with me.
Yes, sir.
Astro, you and Manning get one of the jet boats ready for use.
Yes, sir.
After preliminary examination of the terrain, we'll use jet boats for advanced search. Now, check your oxygen supplies. You should have enough for 8 hours. Under no circumstances are any of you to go out alone. Remember that. Now, put on your helmets and check your oxygen.
Cadet Astro, okay, sir.
Cadet Corbett, okay, sir. Cadet Manning, okay, sir.
All right.
And be careful out there. One mistake, and it may be your last. Just remember, Pluto was named after the god of the dead.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Attention all spacemen. Attention all spacemen. Stand by for a high-priority message from Commander Arkwright, Space Academy Commandant. Pay close attention. This message will not be repeated.
The health and strength of you spacemen listening is of primary importance to the well-being of this planet. I cannot overestimate the duties and responsibilities you will have to assume in the years to come. That is why you must keep yourselves strong and healthy. That, in part, means selecting the right foods that really help you to build strength and health. And when it comes to breakfast, I personally recommend Kellogg's Pep. Pep is a 100% whole wheat cereal, a cereal that supplies vitamins and minerals and other food values Space Cadets need to keep up with their training. That's the kind of cereal you should have. If you want to match the cadets in their activities, eat the same cereal they do. Start your day the spaceman's way, with a hearty, nourishing bowlful of Kellogg's Pep. In transmission.
Thank you, Commander Arkwright. And spacemen, Kellogg's Pep is a swell, tasting cereal, too. So ask Mom to get the cereal that combines good eating with 100% whole wheat. Ask your mother for Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
3 billion miles from the sun on the bleak carbon dioxide wastes of the planet Pluto, 4 Earthmen are in search of a cave that will eventually serve as a base for further exploration on the dead planet. While Space Cadets Astro and Manning prepare a jet boat for long-range search, Tom Corbett and Major Connell, exploring on foot, stand at the base of a solid mountain of ice over 6,000 feet high.
Jumping Jupiter, this is the biggest hunk of ice I've ever seen, Major. Frozen gases, Corbett, that's all it is. Must be 100 miles round at the base. You think we'll find a cave anywhere under that, sir? It's possible, but wouldn't the atomic heating units make this thing melt? If it did melt, it would turn into gas and form ice somewhere else. There are no liquids on Pluto. None at all? Maybe billions of years ago, but now nothing but frozen gas. Well, let's go back to the Polaris. Manning and Astro should have that jet boat ready by now. I want to take a look at this mountain from the other side.
Well, the jet boat's ready, Astro. Where's His Royal Highness Major Connell?
I ought to be back any second. Relax, Roger.
Boy, just looking at all that ice out there makes me cold.
Just keep talking, pal. Your space gas will warm you up.
Rock it off, will you? Look, I've got an idea. Let's give this jet boat a trial run and have a look around.
Oh, we'd better not, Roger. The Major said wait.
Okay, then you go out and sit on a hunk of ice because I'm going to do some sightseeing. Besides, the Major told us to get the boat ready, and how can we be sure it's okay unless we test it?
But the Major said we're to stick together.
Afraid to come along, Astro?
Afraid nothing.
Make up your mind, pal. I'm ready to blast off.
Well, all right. But make it a short hop, Roger. I'd rather take 400 degrees below zero from Pluto than 200 above from Major Connell.
Rocket cruiser Polaris to Polaris jet boat. Polaris to jet boat. Come in, Roger. Astro. Polaris to jet boat. Come in. No use, Corbett. They've been gone for over 2 hours. Something must have happened to them, otherwise they would vanish. I can't understand it, Well, I can. Manning and Astro have deliberately disobeyed my orders to stay here at the Polaris until we return. I've had enough of this smart-alecky attitude. This is going to cost them exactly 99 demerits. But, sir, it only takes 100 demerits to wash out of the Academy. I know that, Corbett. But it will keep them from stepping out of line again. A foolish trick like this could jeopardize the entire expedition.
Jet boat to Polaris. Jet boat to Polaris. Come in,
Well, it's about time. Polaris here, Roger. Are you all right, Manning?
Sure.
Manning, where are you?
I don't know exactly, sir. About 1,000 miles south of you at the end of a big ice mountain range. A stabilizer froze and we can't blast off.
By the crashes of Luna, Manning, this is the last time you'll disobey an order. Where's Cadet Astro?
He's back in the cave, exploring, sir.
What cave?
I found the cave, sir, almost as big as the Grand Canyon. Goes in about a mile to the rock surface of the planet. That's what you wanted, isn't it, sir?
Yes, Manning, thanks, but it still doesn't clear you of disobeying orders. You set out a red flare marker and stay where you are until Corbett and I get there. And when I say stay there, I mean stay. You move 1 inch and you'll get demerit number 100.
Well, hotshot, the Major sure cooled you off in a hurry, and I don't mean by the climate.
Listen, P-Brain, if it wasn't for me finding that cave, you'd be stuck on this solar popsicle for months.
Look, if that head of yours gets any bigger, you'll bust right out of your space helmet.
Take a walk, ape-man.
I think I will. I prefer the company of that empty cave.
Yeah, do that. And while you're at it, get lost.
Hey, Roger.
Oh, brother, am I glad to see you, Tom. I thought for a while you weren't going to find us.
Don't worry, Cadet Manning. I would have found you, all right.
Yes, sir. I can imagine, sir.
Where's Cadet Astro?
He's inside the cave, sir. Over there.
Very well. Corbett, you stay here in the jet boat with Manning and see that he doesn't budge out of it.
Aye, aye, Major.
I'll find Astro and bring him back.
He's really fusing his tubes.
What made you take off like that, Roger? You're asking for trouble with an officer like Major Connell.
That's gratitude for you. I not only astrogate the guy 3 billion miles, but I find his little cave for him, too, and he blasts me for it.
That's not the point, Roger. You disobeyed an order.
If it wasn't for me, we'd just be starting to look for the cave. Now the job's all done.
Okay. No one's taking the credit away from you. But you've got to understand...
Knock it off, Junior. We just don't talk the same language.
Maybe not, but I hope the disciplinary board at the academy talks yours when you're brought up on charge. Hey, there's the intercom signal.
Probably Major Connell or Astro reporting on their belt communicators.
Jet boat. Cadet Corbett, go ahead.
Corbett, this is Major Connell. Has Cadet Astro returned yet?
Why, no, sir. Haven't you found him?
No, the only trace of him is his belt communicator. I found it on the floor of a cave about 100 yards in.
How could he lose his communicator?
I don't know. This looks like trouble. You and Manning join me here and bring along an emergency kit.
Very well, sir. Be right there. With the 3 of us searching, we ought to find him in no time.
I wouldn't be too sure of that. From what I've seen, this cave is so big you could put Space Academy in one corner and never see it. So you can imagine what would happen to a mere man. There's a narrow ledge leading down to the bottom of the cave, boys. If Astro went down, he had to go this way. Lead the way, sir. We're right behind you. You can see the whole cave from here. Jumping Jupiter, I never dreamed it was this big. Why, it must be 20 miles across and a mile deep from top to bottom. And the floor is rock, not ice. And look at the way the walls shimmer with light. Like they were studded with 1 million tiny light beams. Yes. In our wildest dreams, we didn't hope for this. But its size makes it that much more difficult to find Astro. I'll say 400 square miles to cover. To find one guy, 6 feet tall. All right, boys. We're on the floor of the cave. From this point, we have to separate. Corbett? Yes, sir. You take a red flare and go to the left. Manning? Yes, sir. Take a yellow flare and go to the right. I'll take a blue one and cut across the middle of the cave. Now, take your time and keep your eyes open. If you find any trace of Astro, ignite your flare. Any questions? No questions, sir. All clear, sir. One thing more. Return to this point in 3.5 hours.
Why the time limit, sir? Aren't we going to keep looking until we find Astro?
If we don't find him in 3.5 hours, Manning, there'll be no rush. Astro's oxygen will be gone, and he won't know the difference.
Blasted, if anything happens to that balloon...
Wait a minute, Manning. Now you know what can happen when you disobey an order. All right. Come on.
No luck, huh, Major?
No, not a thing, Corbett. How about you?
Same here, sir. No footprints, not a sign of him.
Where's Manning?
Well, I guess he's still looking, sir. I just can't understand it. Astro wouldn't wander off like that.
I know, Corbett. It's almost as if he dropped right off this ice-packed planet.
You think he might have fallen in one of the ice crevices in a way that we couldn't see him?
It's possible, Corbett. But I don't...
Major, look.
What?
A flare. It's Roger. He must have found Astro. Come on.
Take it easy, boys. Easy. Hold him up. Slowly. That's it. Tie the rope to that big rock, Roger. I've got Astro by the shoulders.
Okay.
Hang on to him. Get him over the edge. There.
Thanks, Major.
There. He's safe now. Manning, get an emergency oxygen flask hooked up to his space helmet. Hurry.
Yes, sir. His face is almost blue with cold. I guess being wedged in that crevice for 4 hours cut off the heating units in his spacesuit.
No, Corbett, he's not suffering from cold. That's suffocation. That's what happens when you can't breathe.
I'll give him some more oxygen, Roger. I think he's beginning to open his eyes.
Right. Come on, Astro, old boy. Breathe deep. He's getting it now. There. He's starting to breathe deeply.
Hey. What's going on?
Take it easy. Breathe evenly and slowly. That's it.
Oh, boy. Does that oxygen feel good?
Corbett, you and Manning go back to the jet boat and fly it in here. We've got to get Astro out of this icebox.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, we'll get this Venusian lummox back where it can be warmed up.
Just a little of your hot air will do, Roger.
Sounds to me like you're better already. Well, don't just stand there, boys. Blast off. Get that jet boat ready.
Roger, this ought to teach you a lesson about obeying orders.
Oh, don't say a word, Tom. I feel smaller than a Martian mouse.
Yeah? I've heard you say that before.
Well, this time I mean it.
Now, here's the cave entrance. Let's get that jet boat ready.
Yeah, brother, it's good to see open space again. Hey, Tom, what's that noise?
I don't know.
Jumping Jupiter, the whole mountain's starting to shake.
Roger, it's an avalanche. Tons of ice coming down on top of us.
Come on, let's get back in the cave.
No time now. Head straight out and run for your life.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Spaceman, have you started your collection of magic eyes yet? Well, let me tell you all about it because you won't want to miss out on this. The magic eye is a brightly colored plastic disc set with a picture in the middle. And when you hold it in your hands and tip it back and forth, the picture goes into action, doing things you wouldn't believe possible. There's one magic eye with a picture of Bob Hope holding a baseball bat. When you tip the magic eye up and down, Bob Hope starts swinging that bat just like a real baseball slugger. When you move another magic eye, you'll see a jet plane streaming through the clouds. And altogether, there are 16 different pictures you can collect in the Magic Eye series. Each magic eye is easy to get, too. All you have to do is get a package of that swell-tasting Kellogg's Pep. Open it up, and right inside you'll see a magic eye that's all yours. That's the best part. There's a magic eye free at no extra cost in every package of Kellogg's Pep. Get your Magic Eye collection started now. Ask Mom to buy the build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
Finding Astro alive but wedged in an ice crevice inside the huge cave on Pluto, Tom and Roger helped Major Connell release him, and then left the cave to get the jet boat to carry their friend back to the Polaris. However, just as they stepped out of the mouth of the cave, an avalanche thundered down on them. Hundreds of tons of snow and ice threatening burial and instant death.
Come on, Roger. Run! Run!
I can't make it, Tom. I'm through.
Hit that dirt quick. Here it comes! sure it isn't torn?
No, everything's okay. Jumping Jupiter. Look, Tom, the mouth of the cave. It's buried.
Oh, no. And Astro and Major Colonel are trapped inside. Come on, Roger. Keep digging. We've got to get through this ice.
Tom, I can't. I can't lift the axe anymore.
All right. Take a breather.
If there was only some way we could find out if Astro and the Major are okay.
The only way is to cut through.
It's impossible, Tom. We've been at it for 2 hours and haven't even made a dent in it.
Say, maybe there's some way we could melt this stuff.
I don't see how, Tom. We haven't got any kind of heat available, and if we did, we couldn't sustain it long enough to cut all the way through.
The Polaris could.
The Polaris?
Suppose we bring the ship here and turn her stern exhaust on that pile of ice.
Hey, it might work, Tom. It's about the only thing we can do. If we don't get inside that cave soon, Astro and the Major are done for.
Hello, Roger. We're getting pretty close to the cave. Stand by rocket control.
Okay, Tom. Power deck ready.
I'll bring the Polaris right over the pile of ice and reduce velocity thrust until Pluto's gravity pull and the thrust of the rockets are equal.
Sounds good to me, Tom.
Right. We're closing in now. Fire rockets just enough to make us hover, Roger.
Power coming up.
Nice going. We're holding right over the ice. Our exhaust blast ought to make it evaporate soon.
How's it doing, Tom?
We have to get closer. Reduce your thrust just a notch.
How's that?
Right on the nose, Roger.
Is it really melting the stuff?
It just disappears. Another minute and we should be through.
Great. Old man Pluto's getting the first hot foot in umpty billion years.
Honestly, boys, when I saw that rocket exhaust flame burning through that pile of ice, I didn't know whether to be happy or scared.
Yeah, it reminded me of the ancient dragons in fairy tales.
It was a nice job, boys. You were just in time. Our oxygen was just about gone.
Well, thank heavens it only took a couple of minutes for the heat from the exhaust to get rid of the ice.
At first I thought it was Manning shooting off his mouth again.
Major, will the cave fit the needs of the expedition?
Oh, completely, Corbett. And as soon as I send a report back to Space Academy, a fleet of space freighters will leave with equipment and supplies to establish the base.
Say, Skipper.
Yes?
Isn't it the usual thing to name a new discovery after the discoverer?
Why, yes, it is, Manning. The name will be recorded with the Solar Council.
Well, what do you know? A new base named after me. Just think, Astro. Now you can tell your grandchildren you knew the first great explorer of Pluto, the hero who established Manning Colony.
Correction, Manning. The Polaris Colony.
I'll sure tell my grandchildren about that.
Cheer up, Roger. We'll name the garbage dump after you.
Go blow your jets.
Miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, when Astro is suddenly threatened by a spaceman's most dreaded disease and undergoes a dangerous trial in space. Tune in, same time, same station on Tuesday for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the Build-Up Wheat Cereal. Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in today's cast were Jan Merlin, Al Markham, and Barry Kroger. Today's program was written by Richard Jessup, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And what a secret. In Kellogg's Raisin Bran, the tasty raisins are dipped in honeycomb. That means plumper, more tender raisins along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes. Both fruit and cereal, all in one box. And no other raisin brand but Kellogg's gives you the tender goodness of raisins dipped in honeycomb. That's Kellogg's secret. So for your breakfast, make sure you get Kellogg's.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. You are standing in a moonlit clearing somewhere in the Burmese jungle, the ruins of an ancient temple at your back, while gliding silently across the grass towards you, the knife in her hand held pointing at you, is the beautiful yet deadly high priestess of the cult you have profaned, the exotic girl who must now take your life.
Listen now as Escape brings you Kathleen Height's story, Eye of Evil.
I studied Fairchild as he read the letter. He was not a man I would ordinarily turn to for help, but I was not acquainted in Mandalay. Then, too, he knew Campbell. I mean no slur against Fairchild. He was bright enough as government office clerks go. I had simply hoped for more formidable assistance.
This is the last letter you received from Campbell?
The last word of any sort until I cabled him to meet me in Mandalay. He cabled back that he would and named this hotel at noon today.
Well, it's only 2 hours late. 2 hours doesn't mean much in Burma.
I'm not especially concerned about these 2 hours.
The letter, eh? I can't say I blame you. Odd sort of letter. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Nor to me. Nor to anyone at the Historical Society.
I hate to suggest this, but it sounds as if the old boy's cracked a bit, wouldn't you say?
That's more or less what I've been sent to find out.
This part here, he says, I shall fail if where I look my eyes see no beauty. Can't deny it has a certain ring to it.
When was the last time you saw Campbell?
Let me see. It was well before the rain set in. I should say a good 6 or 8 weeks before. That would make it late February or early March.
Campbell's letter was posted here in Mandalay the 14th of May. You're certain you didn't see him around that date?
Positive. Of course, just because it was posted here doesn't mean Campbell himself is in Mandalay.
Oh?
Probably sent it up here from Pugan by Mangba.
Mangba?
Burmese boy, devoted to Campbell. There's been all sorts of help to him with all that probing about he does around Pugan, ruddy ancient shrines and pagodas. The place is crawling with him, you know.
Yes, that's what I understand.
Mungba does a lot of that sort of thing for Campbell. Errands, supplies, comes up the Irrawaddy by boat, you know. There's no train down to Pugan from Mandalay. I don't suppose Campbell relishes the boat trip often.
What was he like the last time you saw him?
Seemed normal enough. We lunched here at the hotel just as we're doing.
From what you've said, that's about 4 months or so ago. I guess a lot could happen to a man in 4 months.
It could in Pugan. Nothing but those miserable pagodas and shrines. I don't take much to ruins myself. You've been there, haven't you, Laurie?
No. This is my first trip to Burma.
Oh. Well, they might just give you a word about the people, all sorts, of course, but those around Pugan seem to be given to all manner of strange beliefs, superstitions, odd things. Well, the evil eye, for example.
You serious?
Dead serious.
Well, we can't be talking about the same thing. If I remember correctly, the archaic belief in the evil eye is that if one possesses it, anything or anyone he looks upon will die.
Quite right. Only it isn't entirely archaic. It's a widespread belief in India, parts of Egypt, Arabia, and certainly here in Burma.
Oh, that's fantastic.
If I may, Loring, you're apt to find a great many things in Burma fantastic. Not so much in Mandalay, perhaps, or Rangoon, but around Pugan and to the west and north. There's a feeling A mystic, something that's been known to take hold of man.
You're suggesting that Campbell...
I don't know. You'd have to go there to find out.
As Fairchild left me, something drew my attention across the room. She was alone. And quite possibly the most beautiful woman I had ever seen. Utterly, strikingly beautiful. And the look in her eyes was a compelling invitation. In no time at all, I accepted.
You were a very long time.
Matter of seconds after I saw you.
But you were a long time seeing me. I have been looking at you for almost an hour.
Not like that, you haven't. No, I'd have known.
I wonder. Your face, a very nice face, has been clouded with concern. And so would mine have been with your luncheon companion.
It was a bit drab, wasn't it?
I saw no reason for you to spend more time with him. Gina decided you should spend your time with her.
Gina. I like that.
And I like the name Stephen Loring.
How on earth could you know that?
Either I have the gift of clairvoyance, or I paid to look at the hotel register.
Oh, well, in either case, I'm flattered. And because I haven't much time, I agree with Gina. I should spend what time I have with her.
How much time?
Today. Perhaps tonight.
And tomorrow?
No. Tomorrow I'm off to Pugan and feeling a mystic something that's been known to take hold of men.
You joke about Pugan.
Oh, no, not really. I was quoting my drab friend. I've never been to Pugan myself.
I do not think you would like it there.
Oh?
Pugan is very different. I should think you would find Mandalay much more to your taste.
I should think I would, too. And Gina, knowing Mandalay was strange to me, wrote out instructions that would lead me to our rendezvous that night, and then she was gone. I found it difficult to believe our meeting ever occurred, except that the memory of her was vivid and haunting. I lingered over a brandy and was preparing to leave the dining room.
Greetings, Takin. You are, I am certain, one Mr. Loring?
Is everyone in Burma clairvoyant?
No, Takin. I am pleased to be Mungba.
Who?
Mungba.
Oh, Campbell's friend from Pugan. Well, where is he? Isn't he with you?
Regrettably not with Mungba. Esteemed friend remains in Pugan. Ask that you understand and kindly to return to Pugan with Mungba.
Oh? Well, is anything the matter with Campbell?
To say again, esteemed friend remains in Pugan. Ask that you understand and kindly to return to Pugan with Mungba.
No, I understand you all right. I'm inquiring about Campbell. Is he well?
To say again, esteemed friend
remains... No, I understand. I am to come with you to Pugan. Campbell is there.
Good. To leave now is to arrive at Pugan as the sun rises.
No, not good. Not today. Tomorrow morning, when the sun lives again, we will go.
To say again, to leave now.
No. Never mind that. I said not today. You understand? Tomorrow morning, you and I go to Pugan.
Not good.
Very good. Now, here. Can you lead me to this address or show me how to get there? See?
To answer, Mungba is able to lead to this address.
Splendid. Then meet me here at the hotel at 7 this evening.
No, thank you, Takin.
Oh, no. Now, what's all this about?
To beg pardon, Takin. Though able, Mungba think not wise for one Mr. Loring to present himself at stated address. So, Mungba not lead him there.
And he smiled and bowed and scurried off. It didn't matter. I knew that somehow I would find my way to China that night. When evening came, I left the hotel and began a bewildering tour of the countless bazaars. By asking a direction here and a question there, I came finally to a dark cluster of buildings in a remote section of the Zegyo Bazaar. And there, at the proper door, I stopped.
You are the most welcome one.
I'm Stephen Loring.
Nothing awaits for you. Kindly enter.
Thank you. It's a bit dark in here, isn't it?
The lights of 1,000 candles are soon to come, Takin. One moment.
I took a few steps on past the servant, and suddenly I felt a pair of arms around me. I struggled to free myself, and then a blinding pain flashed through me, and I felt myself sinking to the floor. Faintly I heard the voices, and only one did I recognize. That of the little Burmese, Mangba.
Takin. Takin.
Sheena.
To wake from a dream, not always pleasing, Takin.
Mangba. What happened?
Not to remember, often rewarding.
Yes. Oh, we're on a boat?
Soon to land at Pugal.
Well, last night, you followed me. You saved my life.
No trouble to serve friend of esteemed friend.
Yes, Campbell. I wonder how I'll find him.
In time, Takin, all questions are answered.
No, you're wrong. Some questions are never answered. And maybe that's just as well.
Spoken like man of wisdom. Enlightenment.
Very little of either this morning, Mumba. It is morning, isn't it?
Sun warm and new. Like Mungba, has much to learn before he dies.
We all do.
To beg pardon, Takin, some more than others. People of village are in their hearts good people, but wisdom to them new, and fears old.
Yes, so I understand, but what is...
People of village require patience. Leader who shows patience and no fear can bring my people to enlightenment, away from superstitions and ancient religious teachings.
Oh. No, you've got the wrong idea. I have not come to lead your people any more than Campbell did. Now, understand, I've come only to get data on the ancient shrines and pagodas nearby and to help your esteemed friend Campbell.
Taking to see many past glories of Pugan, but, beg pardon, villagers of Pugan also there.
The village, when we reached it, was somewhat inland from the river port of Pugan proper. Wood and bamboo huts lined the four sides of a square that served as a compound. A pack of wild dogs swarmed ahead of us, yapping a signal to the groups of villagers bunched together near a central hut. Mangba raised his hand in greeting. After a moment of frozen silence, the villagers turned and ran.
They run from us. Something very wrong.
Not much of a welcome.
Must walk ahead to hut of esteemed friend. Must smile, show no fear. Come, Takin.
I fixed the smile on my face that Mangba ordered, and I followed him. If I showed no fear, it was not because I felt none. There wasn't a soul in sight, but my back straightened rigid with the feel of 100 eyes upon it. Mangba's steps slowed at the sound of the bell, his head cocked slightly to one side as if to listen. We walked on slowly now, until we came to the central hut. There, Mangba stopped cold.
No, not so.
What is it? What's wrong?
Evil eye, it has come. Evil eye.
You are listening to Eye of Evil, tonight's presentation of Escape. Each week, CBS Radio issues an invitation to go on the prowl in a real squad car. You'll hear the stories of real witnesses in real cases as you join us on CBS Radio's Night Watch. It's unusual, thoroughly factual, and thoroughly exciting. Night Watch, every week on most of these same stations. And now Escape and the second act of Eye of Evil.
Disappeared as quickly and completely as the others, fled in terror from a crude sign I could not understand at the door of the central hut. The temple bells tolled ominously as I walked inside, not knowing what to expect. Mungbar had called this Campbell's hut, but there was no one inside, only the strange signs and symbols affixed to everything in sight. I wanted to run too, desperately, but something told me that if I were safe at all, I was safer inside the hut. As the silent day wore on, I found many of Campbell's papers. Garbled and strange, they were a chronicle of the steady deterioration of a man. When I finally put them down, it was night.
Takin, Mungbar falls before you.
Are you hurt?
Only with hurt of shame, Takin.
And get up.
When duly forgiven.
I said get up. And tell me what this madness is all about, these signs. This poppycock about the evil eye.
Mungbar, upon seeing the signs of the evil eye, forgot his enlightenment.
No. Did you find out about Campbell?
He is said to be possessed.
And that accounts for these signs?
Signs are charm to evil eye. Take away power. So say my people.
Your people are insane.
Only frightened, Takin.
Look. Can't you talk to them, reason with them, tell them they have nothing to fear, that even if they did these obscene charms of theirs are no answer?
Not Mungbar. Takin must do.
Me? Oh, that's ridiculous.
To say again, Takin must do. The evil eye is on this house. Only Takin can prove this is not so. So say my people.
But how?
Tomorrow, Takin look upon chosen one. If chosen one not die, spell of evil eye broken. If chosen one die, not good.
Oh, of all the idiotic...
To beg pardon. To do this, only way to save esteemed friend and self.
There was no sleep. The foregone night spent itself slowly, weirdly, washed in moonlight and filled with strange sounds. The paddy birds, the barking deer, the cries of wild cattle, and always the eerie toll of the temple bells. I could feel it building in me, a fusion of strangeness, a fear that was somehow compelling. Drawn to an opening at the back of Campbell's hut, I looked out. And there I saw a moonlight fantasy. In a clearing before an ancient pagoda, a single dancer performed. And then, somehow, I was outside the hut, walking slowly across the compound.
No, Takin, no!
Get out of my way.
Hear me. Hear, Mungbar. You must not answer the call of the temple bells.
Stand aside.
To follow is to die.
I tried to free myself from Mungbar's grip. I could not. And if the dancer danced on, and if the bells tolled longer, I don't know. Because suddenly the night was black and silent, and the madness was gone. You know, each night I don't know how I got to bed, yet every morning I find you here.
Takin, sleep well?
Like I was hit on the head. Mungbar, was there really a dancer out there last
Mungbar,
night?
60, Takin, feel fine.
Was there a dancer?
What has gone before belongs to the night, no longer to us.
I don't understand your bloody country, Mungbar, or even you.
I am pleased to be a simple man.
You've saved my life twice now. Why?
Takin Mungba, friend. Life or friend more precious than own life.
Mungba, what happened to me last night? What happened to Campbell before I got here?
Mungba not know. 60, Takin feel fine.
Everything here plays on your feelings. Your emotions, the cries of the animals, the tolling of the bells. The sight of ruin after ruin, pagodas and shrines in crumbling decay. Is that it? Does the very decay here hold the power to degenerate a man? Oh, temple bell again.
Hour has come, Takin.
What hour?
Before bright sun and my people, Takin, look upon chosen one. Only way to save esteemed friend and self.
Outside, the villagers lined the compound. Some wore coverings over their entire heads. Others, with the same fear that I might possess the evil eye, hid their faces from my view. All of them, so far as I could see, wore signs and symbols as charms against my spell. It was madness. All of it. Madness.
Takin, ready?
Just tell me what I'm supposed to do.
Chosen one will walk to center of tree. Temple bells will stop. That becomes signal for Takin to look for first time upon chosen one.
When the bells stop. Yes, all right. Now let's get on with it.
Kindly turn back, Takin.
All right. I'll have to make quick work of it.
Takin, have nothing to fear.
My heart very nearly stopped with the bells. Slowly, I turned around to look upon the chosen one. He stood proudly straight, smiling comfortably at me. My little Burmese friend, Mungba. And I looked and smiled and watched him fall. Mungba! Mungba! Mungba, how in heaven's name?
Not Takin. His dear friend. Campbell.
Campbell? Poor wretched devil. Mungba was dead, and I was alone. I started to lift him to carry him back to the hut, and then I saw the thin arrow in his back, a blowgun. I looked up in the direction the arrow must have come. There it was. The ancient pagoda where the dancer had been the night before. It was also the direction of the temple bells. And this time, without anyone to stop me, I walked into the ruins of the temple. Campbell! Campbell! Where are you? I'll find you. You know, Campbell?
Over here, Loring.
I can't see you. Any shadows?
I'm here in the dark. You can hear me. If your eyes fail you, follow your ears.
How did you do it, Campbell? He worshipped you. Why did you have to kill Mungba?
Mungba?
Cowering in the darkness won't help you, Campbell. There's a window down there. Why don't you stand proudly in the bright sunlight? It's heated.
Mungba died proudly. How very gallant.
You're mad. Come here. Here to the light. Here now. Stand there until... Campbell.
Are we at the window now, Loring?
Campbell. You're blind.
Do I stand proudly in the bright sunlight?
What happened to you? Who did this to you?
I shall fail if where I look my eyes see no beauty.
Oh, Campbell. We didn't understand in your letter. None of us understood. Tell me, who did that to your eyes?
Where one sees no beauty, no good, one sees evil. And once the eye becomes absorbed with evil, it is said, the eye must no longer see.
Campbell, listen to me. We'll go now, you and I. I'll take you home.
I am home.
No. We'll go to England. Now, together. Do you understand me?
You don't understand me. I want to be here. I must be here.
But why? Why? This place is strange and terrifying.
And beautiful, Loring. But you must go before you see its beauty, before it draws you and holds you and never lets you go.
There's no beauty here.
Have you not seen our beauty, Stephen Loring?
Gina!
Have you not watched the dancer by moonlight and felt compelled to follow her?
Go, Loring, go now. It's not too late for you.
Campbell, did she do this to you?
Go, Loring, while you can.
You were supposed to die in Mandalay, Stephen.
You tried to have me killed.
My people are happy as they are.
Believe me, Loring, and go now. Too late is very soon upon you.
I'll go. I've had my fill of this madness.
Is it madness? Are you sure? You must be very sure. It might be madness. Or again, it might be a feeling, a mystic something that has been known to take hold of men.
I ran, hard and fast, from the ancient pagoda, away from China, away from Campbell. Through the compound I ran, toward Pugan, and the river, and freedom. And when the river was in sight, my legs became heavy, leaden. And in my mind, I knew I would run as far into the world as I could. But I also knew that someday I would have to come back.
Under the direction of Norman MacDonald, Escape has brought you Eye of Evil by Kathleen Heights, starring John Daner. Featured in the cast were Lynn Allen and Jack Crucian, with Parley Bear and Ben Wright. Your announcer, George Walsh. The special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are adrift in a small boat somewhere in the English Channel, the fog lying heavy on the greasy moving waters, while in the dark ahead of you, moving through the war-torn night towards you, is a threat of death from which there may be no escape.
So listen next week when Escape brings you David Devine's story, Flood on the Goodwin. This coming Monday night on CBS Radio's Gunsmoke, you'll discover, along with United States Marshal Matt Dillon, that the problems facing a U.S. Marshal of the Old West were just as vital and real as those facing law enforcement officers today. Remember, Monday nights on most of these same stations, CBS Radio presents realistic Western thrills on Gunsmoke. This is the CBS Radio Network.
Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, two criminals are holding Tonga in the subcellar of a Venus skyscraper. As Buzz and Happy advance toward the men, they pass a large ventilating tunnel covered with a metal screen. One of the men throws a switch, and behind the screen, the blades of a giant fan start to whirl.
They've turned the ventilator fan on. Rush them, Happy.
Yes, sir. I can't stay on my feet.
Keep away from the grating.
I can't move. The air suction pulled me against the grating.
It's got me, too. Try to pull loose, Happy.
The wind's too strong. Commander, the grating is sliding up.
Pull, Happy. Pull hard. If you don't get out of this tunnel, we'll be pulled into the fan.
We'll be back in just a moment with today's Space Patrol story, The Top Secret D-Ray. Boy, oh boy, gang, here's something I'll bet you just never dreamed you could own. I mean a pair of those amazing new Space Patrol space binoculars. A pair just like the Commander uses himself. Now, you know how he can look way off in the distance with his space binoculars? Well, kids, you can do the same with yours. You can read signs blocks and blocks away, watch far-off traffic, study birds in high trees, and do lots and lots of other things with your space binoculars all year long. Now, these are not flimsy goggles or a mask. These are great big plastic space binoculars that stand out from your eyes a full 3.5 inches. Why, you don't even have to use your hands when you're looking through space binoculars. They have a strong elastic band that holds them snugly to your eyes. It's swell for playing Space Patrol because then your hands are free to drive your rocket ship or to hold your cosmic smoke gun. Now remember, these are real fixed-focus 4-power binoculars with 4 pure lucite lenses. Real binoculars 5 inches long, 5 inches wide. The greatest offer we've ever made on Space Patrol. But, gang, the offer soon ends, so don't miss out. Send for your space binoculars today. Just buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. If you don't agree that your binoculars are tops, send them back and we'll return your money. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy have just blasted off from Terra and have set their vector for the lunar fleet base on the Earth's moon. One of the busiest spaceports in the solar system, the fleet base is also the center of scientific research into the development of space flight. For the past week, it's been open house at the base, with guided tours for throngs of visitors from Earth and many of the other planets. Tonga has been assigned to special duty at the base to see that security regulations are observed. Buzz and Happy plan to spend 2 days at this moon spaceport and then bring Tonga back to Terra.
Mind if I tell you something, sir?
What, Happy?
Well, I didn't say anything one way or the other, but, well, I'm certainly glad I wasn't assigned to duty at the fleet base this week.
Somehow I get the impression that you don't exactly care for the idea of herding tourists around.
Oh, it might have been fun for a couple of days, but, gee, a whole week. Why, I'd rather fly through the meteor belt in a bird cage.
I know what you mean. Just the same, Visitors Week at the Lunar Base has been fine for public relations. You'd be surprised at the number of people who are on the moon this week who've never made a space flight before.
Tonga, Lunar Fleet Base, calling Commander Corey aboard Terra 5. Tonga, calling Commander Corey aboard Terra 5.
Corey here. Go ahead, Tonga.
Commander, I have an emergency message. I'm cutting to Scrambler Circuit, code 5.
All right, Tonga. I'll adjust the receiver. Code 5 circuit cut in. Go ahead.
There has been a security leak on the D-Ray project here at the base.
The D-Ray project?
Yes, Commander. A strip of microfilm containing the basic designs has been taken from the files.
Do you have any idea when the theft occurred?
Within the last 3 days.
Order the base commander to declare condition red and ground all spaceships. The thief may still be on the base.
conditioned rate is already in effect, Commander. Colonel Jacobson issued the order 20 minutes ago.
Good. That film must not be smuggled off the base. Tonga, cut on your tape recorder and take this message. Feed it through the public address system at the spaceport every 10 minutes.
Ready, Commander.
Here's the message. Attention, everyone, base personnel and visitors. No film of any kind is to be taken from the base until checked by security officers. Film that is cleared will be sealed and returned to passengers after they're permitted to board their ships. Film not surrendered to security officers will be automatically blanked out by cancel ray machines as passengers and luggage pass through the gates. To preserve your personal films, follow these regulations. End of message.
I have it recorded, Commander. It will be put on the base PA system immediately.
We don't want to keep innocent people on the base longer than necessary, so run the films through inspection as rapidly as full security methods permit.
Yes, Commander.
Happy now will arrive at Lunar Fleet Base in approximately 3 hours. We'll contact you upon arrival. Corey out.
Commander, what is this D-Ray project?
The D-Ray is a new defense ray. It can make any unfriendly spaceship completely powerless, even at great distances. It neutralizes all electrical fields.
Yeah, it would cut off all controls so you couldn't maneuver the ship or fire weapons.
You couldn't even use the spacerphone or viewscope.
And those are the plans that have been stolen?
Yes, and that means that somebody could build a D-Ray to use against Space Patrol ships, if they got away. That's why we have to get that microfilm back.
Smoking rockets.
I want to spaceophone Major Robertson and have him transmit the pictures and records of everyone suspected of espionage to the Lunar Fleet Base. Take over the controls, Happy.
Yes, sir.
And keep it on vector.
Yes, sir.
Your film has been cleared, sir. It will be returned to you aboard your ship as soon as transportation is available. Next. Your name, please.
Bob Morgan.
You have some film to declare?
Yes, ma'am. It's in this can. It's a home movie of my family and some friends. Only a couple of shots of the fleet base. The guide said it was okay to take them.
I'll have to run them off, Mr. Morgan. If you'll step into the projection room with me.
Sure. You'll probably find them pretty dull. I'm not much good at taking pictures. Now, this is about the last of the shots I made on Venus. That's my wife and our youngest daughter, Susie.
Oh, what a cute little girl.
Thank you.
Oh? Is this what you filmed here in the base?
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, that's rocket chute number 1.
I got a ship blasting off, but I didn't have the camera aim right.
Well, that's the end of the reel.
I guess you're glad that's over. Unless you know the people involved, home movies are pretty dull usually.
Well, I'm sure you and your family will enjoy these when you get back to, Mars, isn't it, Mr. Morgan?
Yeah. Films are all right, then?
Oh, perfectly. I'll give you a clearance check, and they'll be returned to you aboard the Mars Express.
Well, thanks, miss. Hope you find what you're looking for.
Ladies and gentlemen, please. We're checking your films as rapidly as we can. Just wait your turn and be patient, please. Now, who's next?
Is the crowd giving you much trouble, Tonga?
Oh, Commander. No, I haven't had any trouble, but the people have had their holiday and they're impatient to get home.
The thief or thieves must have planned to take the microfilms when we had thousands of visitors on our hands. Can we go somewhere where we can talk?
Well, we can use the room next to the projection room.
Fine. Let's go. Happy will be with us in a few minutes. I have him waiting for some pictures and data Robbie's sending us by viewscope facsimile.
Oh, in here, Commander.
Any trace of microfilm, Tonga?
No. The only microfilm any of the security officers have found is of a regular business record nature.
Any indication of blow-ups of microfilm to regular amateur size?
None.
Wow, what a mob. I thought I'd never get through. Cadet, how much longer do I have to wait? Cadet, why is the Space Patrol interested in pictures of my daughter's wedding?
It's understandable, Happy. Got the pictures?
Oh, yes, sir, quite a batch of them. And background data as well.
Look through these, Tonga. See if you can recognize any of these people as having been here at the fleet base.
All right, Commander.
Anything on the D-Ray films, Commander?
Not yet, Happy.
Commander, this man looks familiar. I think I've seen him here.
Which one?
This one. He had some amateur movies of his family. A reel he'd taken on Venus. Morgan is his name. Bob Morgan.
Very interesting. According to the record, Morgan was picked up on Mars last week. He was suspected of violating security regulations there and released for lack of evidence.
Well, there was nothing wrong with his films. Just his wife and daughter Susie and, well, a couple of harmless shots of the base.
Yes, but look at this. Morgan was also questioned on Venus with a certain Art Robertson, also released for lack of evidence. Say, Morgan doesn't have any children. In fact, he isn't married.
What? Now, why would a man lie about a perfectly harmless amateur film?
Tonga, have you got someone who can take over your duties here?
Captain Thornton has been working with me.
He will assume your duties. You're to blast off for Venus City and try to get a line on Morgan's friend, Art Robertson. Happy and I'll head from Mars to check on Mr. Morgan. As soon as you have any information, relay it to me through Space Patrol Unit Headquarters on Mars.
Can't you speed up that projector, Morgan? I'm tired of looking at these phony home movies.
You're tired of them. I've seen this film a dozen times while I was editing and doctoring it at the fleet base, and I had to look at it again at security. Okay, I'll speed it up. Well, the place where I dubbed in the documents is coming up shortly.
You must have done a good job if the assistant security chief passed it.
It's lucky I took all that trouble out. Even though we thought we could get off the fleet base before anyone discovered the D-Ray plans were gone, it didn't work out that way.
Now what happened?
Some eager beaver engineers started his shift 3 hours early. Now, we're getting close. Watch this, There. I've stopped the film on the frame of the little girl.
I don't see anything unusual.
No, neither did security. Watch now. I'll switch to the microfilm lens on the projector.
All I see is a plain white space with a blue border.
That's a blow-up of one of the white checks on the girl's skirt. The blue border is made by the adjoining blue squares.
You mean one tiny square fills the whole screen? I still don't see anything.
You will when I cut off the regular lamp and turn on the infrared.
Jump on Jupiter, the D-Ray plans.
Right. That's page 1. The next 20 frames, there are other pages concealed in squares of the girl's skirt.
Great job, Morgan. Terrific.
Nearly went nuts. First I had to project the original microfilm, photograph it in infrared on another microfilm. Then came the tough part. I had to superimpose the plans on the regular-sized film inside one of those tiny squares.
You did a great job, Art. We'll take the D-Ray strip to Venus.
Now will we collect?
Yeah. But it'll take me a couple of days to establish contact with the man who pays off. Naturally, he's...
4 minutes out of Lowell City, sir.
Take over for the landing, Happy.
Tonga, Venus City, Space Patrol Headquarters, calling Commander Corey aboard Terra 5. Tonga, calling Commander Corey.
Corey here, go ahead.
I've been checking on Art Robertson, Commander. Got the word earlier than I thought I would.
Let's have it.
He left here for Lowell City about 5 days ago.
Then there's a good chance he came to Mars to meet Morgan. One of our agents at Lowell City has found Morgan's location. We'll stay in Venus City, Tonga. Find out who Robertson's friends are. See if you can run down any definite contacts or connections between Robertson and Morgan.
Yes, Commander.
Happy and I'll handle things at Lowell City, and Corey out.
Yeah?
Mr. Robert Morgan?
Oh, why, yes.
I'm Commander Corey of the Space Patrol. This is Cadet Happy. We'd like to talk to you.
Sure. Come in, gentlemen.
After you, sir.
Mr. Morgan, you brought back some film from the Lunar Fleet Base, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. I have the clearance certificate from your security officer. Like to see it?
We'd like to see the film. We want to examine it again.
Sure. I have it right here on the table.
Thank you. Here, Hap, take care of this.
Yes, sir.
Anything wrong, Commander? I mean, with the film?
I hope not. Oh, by the way, is your wife home?
Oh, she's visiting her sister in Jupiter City.
I see. And your daughter Sally is with her, I suppose.
Yeah, Sally's with her.
Mr. Morgan, unless I'm mistaken, when our security officer was running the film at the base, you told her your daughter's name was Susie.
Why, we call her Sally as a sort of a nickname.
In our files, Mr. Morgan, you're listed as being single.
Well, I'll tell you. Actually, that film belongs to a friend of mine. I thought I could get it through inspection quicker if I acted as though it were mine. I realize now it was foolish and unnecessary.
We'll give the reel a very thorough examination at the security lab. You'll hear from us then.
Fine, Commander.
Say, that's a pretty fancy projector.
I was just noticing that, Happy. An expensive professional model, isn't it?
Yes, hobby of mine.
Yeah, it's got a lot of extra gadgets on it, too. And they seem to be similar to those in the security lab.
Mm-hmm. A turret with several different lenses, including one for microfilm, and with an infrared attachment.
Hey, we could run it off right here.
Say, Morgan.
Get him, Robertson. It's the Space Patrol.
Look out, Commander! Commander!
You warned him too late, Cadet.
We got here just in time.
Get the film.
What do we do with Corey and the Cadet?
We got to get him out of here. We'll have to take him to Venus with us. Maybe on the way we'll finish him off without leaving a clue.
We'll be back with Space Patrol in just a moment. But in the meantime, here's a quick 3-act play. Act 1 begins with a boy and his mother in a house in a kitchen in the morning.
Fill her up, Mom. Rice checks.
Now there's a boy who knows what he's talking about. He wants a bowl of delicious rice checks for breakfast. Rice Chex, the shredded rice super cereal, spun in that modern bite-sized design. Act 2, next morning, same house, same boy. And in the kitchen, he's lifting up that bowl again.
Fill her up, Mom. Wheat checks.
Yep, today he wants Wheat Chex, power-packed Wheat Chex, swell-tasting shredded wheat biscuits in that same modern bite-sized design. Third act, third day, same kitchen, same boy.
Fill her up, Mom. Instant Ralston.
Yes, sir, today he wants to warm up his motor, so for him it's Instant Ralston, the cereal with flavor galore. Good hot Ralston. And so ends our play, and gang, here's the moral. For a super breakfast, eat a super cereal. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex, good hot Ralston. Bob Morgan has stolen a set of microfilm plans for the secret D-Ray from the Lunar Fleet Base by superimposing them on an innocent-appearing film of regular size. Buzz and Happy, suspicious of Morgan because of discrepancies in his story, found the film containing the defense secret. But before they could examine it, Morgan's accomplice, Art Robertson, arrived, and the two men overpowered the space patrolman in a fight in a darkened room. Right now, with Buzz and Happy locked in a compartment, Morgan and Robertson are in a spaceship approaching Venus.
We aren't going to land in Venus City with Corey and the Cadet aboard, are we?
No, we'll set the ship down at my place on the Turquoise River and get rid of them then. Get the ozone cylinder, hook it up. We'll turn it on just after we land and leave Corey's compartment unlocked. I'll land the ship.
Commander, they've landed. I wonder where we are.
Listen. They're out in the corridor by the door. Watch your chance. If they open it, we'll jump them.
Yes, sir.
Leave them in there, Morgan. We'll attend to them when we come back.
Okay.
Sounds like they're leaving the ship for something.
Yeah. Did you hear a click just then?
I don't think so, sir.
I think one of them was about to open the door when the other one called him away. Try the handle.
Right, sir. It's unlocked.
Open the door a little. Listen. Hear anything?
I thought I heard the hatch close.
Let's get out of here. Happy. Look out the viewport. There they are.
Yeah. Heading for that little building.
By the looks of the landscape, we must be on Venus. And if I'm not mistaken, there's the Turquoise River.
It sure looks like it. I wonder what they're up to.
They got our weapons, or we could rush them.
Yeah, well, maybe we could take them by surprise when they come back.
Those D-Ray plans at stake. I don't want to risk failure. We'll blast off in their ship and space a phone to Venus City for help.
It's a great idea, sir. They can't get very far away, even if they do try to escape.
We can watch them from the air. Come on, let's get to the cockpit.
Boy, this is really a break.
We needed one. I have an idea that Morgan and Robertson are ready to see that we didn't get out of this.
There. All secured for blast-off, sir.
And let's go. There they go.
Yeah, just the way you planned it. How long will it take for that ozone to take effect?
Just a couple of minutes. After a few lungfuls of that contaminated oxygen, they'll get sick and dizzy. Before they can land, they'll black out. And there'll be a terrible tragedy on the Space Patrol records.
Where's your submarine?
It's hidden under the wharf on the river. Come on, let's get down to it.
We'll maintain this altitude, Happy, and keep circling over them.
I can see them in the viewscope, sir. They're heading for the river.
Do you see any boat they could escape in? What's the matter, Hap?
Oh, nothing, sir. My eyes blurred for a minute, that's all. No, there's no boat near the wharf.
I'll put that space phone call through now. Commander Corey aboard private cruiser VP784 calling Space Patrol Venus City. Commander Corey aboard private cruiser V... What was that number, Hap?
Well, it's on the panel, sir. Oh, smoking rockets I can hardly see.
Commander Corey calling Space Patrol Venus City.
Commander, the controls.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. I feel sick.
Something's wrong with the air in this ship. Happy, quickly. See if you can find a couple of spacesuits.
Yes, sir.
Hurry.
The suit's hard to get on. I feel so weak.
I'll help you, Happy. There. Now close the face piece.
Let's hope the oxygen supply works.
Is your suit receiver working, Happy? Yes, sir. I read you. Take several deep breaths. My head's clearing already. So is mine. I checked the viewscope. Do you see Morgan and Robertson? No, sir. The last I saw of them, they were headed for the wharf. Do you suppose they're swimming across the river? Well, keep watching, Happy. I'll check the air analyzer and see what's wrong. Of course, they might have gone back to the building while we were putting on our suits. Boy, I sure thought I was going out there for a while. No wonder. The ship's air indicator's in the red. A few more breaths and we'd have been finished. Hey, there is a boat down there. It's coming out from under the wharf. It's an odd-looking craft. Hey, now it's gone. It sank. Submerged is more accurate. A miniature sub. Right. I'm afraid we fell into a trap. They wanted us to blast off in this ship. Happy, check the air system, see what they rigged up. I'll notify Venus River Patrol to take soundings up and down the river for that sub.
Where are we now?
Right where we want to be. Pier 7, Venus City dock area. 8 fathoms deep.
Safe to surface here?
Sure. We come up under Pier 7. There's a ladder that leads up through a trapdoor into a tool shed. A few minutes from now, we'll be in the streets of Venus City, ready to sell the D-Ray plans.
Yeah. No one able to trace us.
I'll cut the motors now. We're going to the surface.
We hit Venus City at just the right time. The streets are deserted.
Yeah. Turn left at this corner. We'll walk over to the business section and hail a surface taxi.
No. Sorry, lady.
Why don't you look where you're going?
I beg your pardon, but you came around the corner.
Yeah, I pulled. We're sorry.
Wait, you're Bob Morgan.
We're in a hurry.
Wait, you're under arrest, both of you.
We're bumping into you? Don't be stupid.
She's from the fleet base, a security officer.
That's right. And you have to come with me to headquarters.
That's what you think.
Let go of me.
Put your hand over her mouth so she can't yell.
Okay. Hold still, you.
We can't ever spread the news we're in town. Drag her into the alley.
Leave her there?
No. The new building my company is moving to is a block from here. There won't be anybody there this time of night. I'll guard her while you go get a surface car.
Surface car?
Yeah, so we can haul her to the river. Come on, I'll help you carry her.
Where am I now?
Told you before, you're in the basement of the Marquette Building, 4th Avenue and Venus Boulevard, Venus City. Here's Morgan. Hey, what took you so long?
I had trouble renting a car, but I got one. Come on, let's get her out of here.
Okay, Tonga. Here we go.
All right, Morgan, Robertson.
It's Corey and the cadet.
Let go of Tonga and get your hands up.
Quick, Morgan, down this corridor toward the ventilator intake. Take the girl. Corey won't dare shoot.
Let go.
Come on.
Commander!
You're getting away, Commander. After them, Happy.
Robertson, it's a dead end.
Go to the far wall. We'll make a stand there. Come on, you.
Commander!
We haven't got a chance.
With the girl here, we can bargain with Corey. All right, press back into this corner, under the switch box.
You might as well give up, you two.
Come and get us.
Come on, Happy.
Are you crazy? Left our ray guns in the sub.
Corey will have to pass in front of that big grating. When he does, I'll throw the switch.
What'll that do?
There's an 8-foot ventilator fan back there. It'll create a vacuum strong enough to pull them right up against the grating.
Commander! Happy, don't come any closer.
Shut up. Morgan, pull the switch.
Watch them, Happy. Yes, sir. Turn that off. Commander, I can't move.
Come on and get us, Corey.
Suction.
Now, Corey, I'm going to release the grating.
Happy, if you could slump down, maybe we could crawl away from the vents. Commander, the grating is sliding up. We'll be pulled back into the fan. I can still move my arm. I can throw my gun and hit that switch and short it out. Aim straight, Commander. Here goes. You did it, sir. A bullseye.
Quickly, Happy, rush them. They hit the switch. Morgan, pick up that ray gun.
No, you don't. Get away from it, Morgan.
All right, Robertson. Yes. No more. No more. I've had enough. How about you, Morgan?
Sorry, Commander, but Mr. Morgan is out.
Are you all right, Tonga?
Yes, Commander. I guess you heard my miniature spaceophone.
Yes, and Robertson's ship. Good thing you had it on. It was lucky Morgan had trouble locating a surface car. All right, Robertson. Where's that film strip?
It's right here in my pocket.
Hand it over. Happy, see if you can revive our fleet-based tourist, Morgan.
Oh, he's not a tourist any longer. Where he's going, he'll be a permanent resident.
We'll be back with an action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol story in just a moment. Hey, gang, have you sent for your Space Patrol space binoculars yet? Well, you better hurry, because this offer is soon going to end. Now, remember, space binoculars are real binoculars. Big, powerful binoculars you can see way off in the distance with. And when I say they're big, when I say they're powerful, I mean it. Space binoculars are 5 inches long, 5 inches wide. They're 4 power binoculars, and that means they make people, cars, buildings, everything else in the distance look 4 times closer. Now, they're not old-fashioned binoculars that you have to hold in your hand. They're sleek, new, modern plastic binoculars with an elastic band that holds them snugly to your eyes. Just think of the fun. You can spot planes in the sky, watch birds and squirrels in the trees, identify cars blocks away, read signs way off in the distance, and do lots and lots of other things with them day and night all year long. Absolutely the greatest value we've ever offered. But don't forget, this offer soon ends. So hurry. Send for your official Space Patrol space binoculars today. Just buy a box of Instant Ralston. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and an Instant Ralston box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in the USA and may be withdrawn at any time. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, an exciting preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol story. Buzz and Happy have conceived an extremely daring and dangerous plan to surprise 2 criminals who are holding Carol captive in the Martian hills. Right now, they're nearing the hideout in a small atmosphere ship.
We're getting close, sir.
Fasten your safety belt, Happy. Here's where we would develop power failure intentionally.
I'm all set, sir.
Hang on. I'm about to make the worst landing of my career.
The ground's coming up awfully fast.
You gotta make this look like a disastrous crash.
Okay, but it's beginning to look too realistic.
Brace yourself. It's beginning to look like a real thing to me, too. We're losing control.
Be sure to be with us next Saturday for the exciting story, Crash Landing, when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present Space Patrol! Space Patrol, an original Mike Moser production starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston and directed by Larry Robertson. Other players were Norman Jolly, Ken Mayer, Nina Vera, and Stephen Robertson. Dick Tufel speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present the new exciting Space Patrol. Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. Space Patrol comes to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.